Chapter 219. Threatened Lu Muyen furrowed her brows slightly when she saw that many sword masters blocked their way. What do you want to do? Kill and snatch treasures? Luo Li glanced at the sword masters who surrounded them and narrowed his eyes dangerously. With their elite team from Rongzi Kingdom, naturally no one was allowed to touch a single hair of Lu Muyen's. Little young Master Luo misunderstands. I only want to have a chat with this miss privately, and have no intention of killing and snatching treasures. One of the more tactful-looking men walked out and said with a smile, "With you, a great deity one, here, even if we wanted to kill people and snatch treasures, we wouldn't dare." He added inwardly. Many people also agreed, indicating that they all just wanted to talk to Lu Muyen privately. Lu Muyen asked indifferently, "If you have something to say, just say it." She didn't have the time and energy to talk with these people individually. She could already guess what they wanted from her. "Miss, this one is very interested in the heavenly frost golden crystal you possess. I wonder if you can sell one piece to me or barter." The tactful man continued to speak with a smile. Hearing what he said, those with the same purpose came forward and expressed that they could also make an offer or trade with Lu Muyen for the heavenly frost golden crystal. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and looked at the tactful man, her voice cold. "Aren't you looking for the wrong person? My heavenly frost golden crystal was already traded to that man in the black cloak. If you want to trade for the heavenly frost golden crystal, then you should go find him." As soon as this person opened his mouth, he said he wanted to trade for the heavenly frost golden crystal and didn't even ask if she had any. If it wasn't to test her, then his purpose was impure. The slick man froze for a moment, then seeing Luo Li's icy gaze sweep over him, he shuddered and immediately said with a smile, "So Miss no longer has any more heavenly frost golden crystals. What a pity. Apologies for bothering you." He just wanted to test this girl a little, but he didn't expect her to be so smart. He sure didn't want to offend the people of the Luo clan because of this, so he was very friendly. "No problem." Lu Muyen said indifferently, "Can I leave now?" "Of course, please." The tactful man stepped aside. Although other people pitied it, but they didn't have much suspicion. It was already a huge fortuitous encounter for this peak phase sword king woman to obtain one piece of heavenly frost golden crystal, so she probably couldn't take out any more. They just had the attitude to try. Those who wanted to trade for the heavenly frost golden crystal all dispersed, either continuing to find others to trade privately with or leave. When Lu Muyen and the others approached the gate of the venue, the brocade-robed man from the elite team of a superpower kingdom earlier walked over with his team. "Miss, please wait." Lu Muyen had long expected that he wouldn't let her go. She looked up at him coldly and asked, "Need something?" The brocade-clothed man didn't expect that there would be a woman who would be so indifferent even after knowing his identity. He smiled playfully and said, "This one does indeed have some things I want to discuss with Mississippi. If it's about the soul-nourishing wood, Gu, I think you shouldn't waste your time." Luo Li stepped forward and raised an eyebrow. "The soul-nourishing wood won't be given to anyone." Lu Muyen was going to open her mouth to refuse first, but she didn't expect Luo Li to step up for her. This little cat had a very straightforward temperament, but was also very smart and alert. Ji's face darkened slightly, revealing a somewhat suspicious look. "What do you want the soul-nourishing wood for?" It stood to reason that a woman who depended on Luo Li shouldn't be able to take out such a spiritual item like the heavenly frost golden crystal to trade for the soul-nourishing wood. Nor would she dare play Mu Tong so arrogantly, unless Luo Li was the one behind instigating it. But he just felt that this stunning woman's temperament was calm and indifferent, not as simple as she seemed. "Don't forget that my elder sister is an alchemist. Naturally, this soul-nourishing wood is useful to her." Luo Li revealed an arrogant look. "Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site." Thanks. Ji's eyes were clouded with a haze. The reason why Luo Li was so arrogant wasn't only because he was a pupil valued by the largest distinguished clan of a superpower kingdom, but also because he had an elder sister who became an outer core disciple of the medicine sect. The soul-nourishing wood could nourish the soul of a swordmaster, and naturally could also nourish mental energy, which would certainly be of great help to alchemists. Even if this was a dead soul-nourishing wood, If it were made into jewelry and worn long-term, it would still definitely be better than the effect of the black crystal diamond Mu Tong won earlier. The soul-nourishing wood is useful to my master. How about you consider it a little more? I can exchange it with anything you like as long as they're things I can take out. Jiyu asked Luo Li with determination. Luo Li smiled proudly. We all come from superpower kingdoms. Although you're a member of the Imperial family, but our Luo clan's status in Rongzi Kingdom isn't inferior to that of the Imperial family. The things you can take out, this young master naturally wouldn't lack. Even if this soul-nourishing wood is a dead one, it's still a rare spiritual item that's hard to come across even in tens of thousands of years. This young master would be a fool to trade it with you. Yes, killing intent flashed past in an instant, and only temporarily suppressed it when he found that a cold gaze fell on him. He knew that the gaze was Luo Yes. Right now, he didn't have any confidence to be able to retreat safely if he fought Luo Yi, so he could only temporarily tolerate Luo Li's arrogance in front of him. He smiled and said, very well. It's fine if you want trade it. But when he walked to Lu Mu Yan's side, he said, does Miss think you can enter the central area at just peak phase Sword King cultivation base? Do you think that you found a large tree to rely on by following Luo Li? If you have anything to say, just say it all at once. Lu Mu Yan looked at him emotionlessly. Jiyu smiled complacently, a smile that didn't reach the bottom of his eyes and had no warmth. I hope Miss can live until the end of the preliminary competition. Are you threatening me? Lu Mu Yan sneered. Wasn't this man just trying to tell her that having provoked them, she wouldn't be able to live until the end of the preliminaries? It doesn't matter if you take it as a threat. I'm just stating a fact. Jiyu smiled gently, then whispered, you'd better not leave Luo Li even half a step. After speaking, they didn't wait for Luo Li to flip out either and left. After passing by, his eyes were extremely cold. He wasn't sure if the soul-nourishing wood would really fall into Luo Li's hands in the end or not, but since that woman dared to snatch from him, then she must be prepared to die. When the points competition was in full swing, and after he left the city to hunt, he would lure Luo Li and the woman out to kill and snatch the treasure. Mu Tong followed closely behind, and when she arrived in front of Lu Mu Yan, she cast a provocative look with undisguised killing intent. I will definitely tear you into pieces during the preliminary competition. I'll be waiting. Lu Mu Yan's red lips parted lightly, and she spit out a few words with a beautiful smile. Mu Tong snorted coldly, and quickly caught up with Jiyu, leaving the venue. Luo Li's eyes were filled with killing intent. That insidious vile person definitely wouldn't just let this go. Well, confront soldiers with generals and stem water with earth too. What's the hurry? Lu Mu Yan patted his shoulder and said, since he regards us as soft persimmons, then just wait to see how we pierce his hands. 3. She could see that many sword masters from large kingdoms didn't dare to provoke Luo Li mainly due to his background and Luo Yi behind him, but instead ignored his talent. Luo Li could obtain the same resources in training and attention as Luo Yi from the Luo clan, meaning his talent definitely wasn't bad. He was also a male lion, but it was just because Luo Yi's light was too bright that it covered up his. She narrowed her eyes with a smile, looking forward to those people taking the initiative to come to her and Luo Li to kill and snatch treasures. One basically a sarcastic or exaggerated way to address someone who's very powerful. Two different situations call for different actions, so Y is saying they'll deal with things appropriately when the situation arises, just doing what's necessary in the end. 3. An extended metaphor on the saying squeezing soft persimmons eggy, seeing that they're weak and bullying them. In this case, Lu Mu Yan will show them how wrong they are by pricking their hands when they're attempting to squeeze them. Chapter 220. Entering the climax. After returning to the inn, Lu Mu Yan instructed Bing Ji to guard the door, then she arranged an array and began to refine grade 3 spiritual recovery pills. After refining the spiritual energy recovery pills, she began to refine several other types of grade 3 pills for emergency use. Afterwards, she took out the soul-nourishing wood she had obtained and stroked it with her palm. A trace of spiritual energy with green mist wrapped around the branch little by little, and the green energy continued to wound around it. She returned the soul-nourishing wood that was now enveloped in green mist back into the profound ice jade box and closed the lid for preservation. The profound ice jade box was a special container used to hold spiritual herbs and spiritual tools, allowing the spiritual energy and moisture of the spiritual herbs and spiritual tools to not be lost over time. Your green spiritual energy can nourish the soul-nourishing wood? Mo Yen asked when Lu Mu Yen finished. Using a bit of time to nourish it, spring will return to the dead soul-nourishing wood. Lu Mu Yen and Mo Yen had long been tied together, so she naturally trusted him very much. Mo Yen also didn't ask much about the green spiritual energy. We'll be going deep into the remote mountains to hunt starting tomorrow. There's only half a month left before the competition ends. In the last 10 days, we also need to prevent others from snatching our jade tablets. The competition will be reaching the climax in the next 5 days starting tomorrow. She replied. When will you be able to break through to Sword Monarch? Mo Yan's cold eyes flashed with a dim light. The leaders of the superpower kingdoms are all at peak phase Sword Monarch. In this space, there's an abundance of spiritual force, and if you're lucky, you can also meet spiritual items. It's not difficult to break through to Sword Sovereign for them. They'll be your rivals. It wasn't easy to survive in this space, not to mention Lu Mu Yen still had the desire to compete for the top 10. Towards her ambition, Mo Yen actually felt it was admirable. With that strength and potential, why not do it? I should be able to break through in the next few days. I already feel that my bottleneck has loosened. Lu Mu Yen also hoped that she could break through to Sword Monarch as soon as possible. That way, she could use more means, and even if she faced Sword Sovereign level powerhouses or demonic beasts, she would have confidence to retreat. After you break through, they'll teach you to use a secret skill. You can borrow my power when you encounter a very dangerous situation then. Mo Yen was silent for a moment, then spoke slowly. Lu Mu Yen was surprised and asked, "Borrow your power? Are there any disadvantages?" It wasn't that the immortal cultivation world didn't have such skills that could borrow the power of spirit pets or other people, but the backlash was huge. Not to mention to themselves, but the damage to the spirit pet was also very big. There naturally will be disadvantages, but it won't backlash. One must be extremely trustworthy of each other, and only people and beasts who can hand over their lives to each other can use it. Mo Yen also didn't conceal it. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were filled with bright brilliance, and she joked, "Can Mo Yen give his life to me now?" "Naturally." Mo Yen answered affirmatively with incomparable seriousness in his eyes. Lu Mu Yen was a black-bellied and cunning woman, with a domineering attitude that looked down upon this world. She even made him, a king who once had his own territory in the demon realm, be unable to comprehend her, and even made him feel a sense of submission. It wasn't the submission towards strength, but a surrendering to her behavior, that pride and domineering, and how she defended her close ones. A willingness to always be her spirit pet and be partners with her. She treated outsiders with indifference and coldness, even cruelty, but she treated those she recognized with her heart. She was generous and protective, shared honor and disgrace, and entrusted each with her life and death. This was also her charisma. Presumably even now, Bing Ji truly recognized her as owner. Lu Mu Yen was deeply stunned, then a joyous smile from the bottom of her heart blossomed, as if enveloped by the morning light, carrying the beauty of the gleaming reflection of waves in the sunlight. "In the future, my life will be entrusted to you, Mo Yen." This was what partners were, entrusting each with their lives and deaths. Mo Yen rolled his eyes at her. This woman sure knew how to say things to please him. Turning to the side, the warm color and tenderness in his eyes didn't dissipate for a long time. The next morning, Lu Mu Yen was called by Luo Li to Luo Ye's room. "Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site." Thanks. When she arrived, Yun Zmo and the others, together with Helian Lai's elite team, were all sitting there. Lu Mu Yen, come and sit. Luo Li's originally indifferent face revealed a handsome, sunny smile when he saw Lu Mu Yen. He patted the empty seat beside him and said. Lu Mu Yen walked over and sat down. "Is this about negotiating an alliance?" Helian Lai was also sitting here today, So presumably it was to discuss the matter of forming an alliance to compete for points. Miss Lu is indeed smart. Helion Lai waved the folding fan in his hand with a complete attitude of an amorous sir. Lu Muyen glanced at him speechlessly and said, "Since we're already cooperating, then you don't need to call me Miss Lu, just call me Lu Muyen or Muyen." Hearing Miss Lu from Helion Lai's mouth just felt awkward. This guy seemed to be a flirtatious, amorous person, but she felt that this was just a way for him to hide his true colors. Sure, Muyen. Helion Lu wasn't quarrelsome either. If he wanted to befriend Lu Muyen, calling her Muyen felt closer. Luo Li glanced at Helion Lai with dark eyes. No matter how he looked at him, he felt that this little pretty face was an eyesore. They'll talk about the plan after the alliance first. If any of you feel that there is something wrong, you can bring it up. Luo Yi still had a noble temperament, and his voice was as clean and warm as wind. From today onwards, the sword masters of the large kingdoms who have some confidence in the preliminary round are all headed towards the central city. And starting from this city, all the demonic beasts that appear in the forests and plains that we will pass by will all be at least tier 5 or 6 everywhere. This was beneficial for killing and earning points, but it also indicated danger. But no matter how many tier 6 demonic beasts there are, it will still face the situation of having too many people but too little porridge. So the further we go into the central area, we will meet wave after wave of sword masters also traveling. Along the way, situations where those that kill each other to compete for demonic beasts will happen all the time. We will set off in a bit and we 3 teams will form an alliance. I don't want anyone to have dissent, otherwise I will be the first to not let them go. Luo Yi scanned the people present with his eyes like the brightest stars hanging in the sky, causing many sword masters to feel a chill all over their bodies. When the alliance is formed, we will be entrusting each other with our lives and deaths. After terminating it, your freedom will be restored. Luo Yi's slow voice sounded ethereal. If we form an alliance with a sincere heart, then our alliance relationship will finish in the finals, but if our cooperation isn't pleasant, then the alliance will be terminated immediately after the preliminary round. His words were deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Since they had formed an alliance, they naturally hoped that the other parties would treat each other sincerely. All right. Everyone agreed and no one objected even deep down. Let's go then. Luo Yi stood up and led the people out of the inn. After leaving the city, Lu Muyen found that sword masters kept pouring out of the city, rushing towards the next large city. Along the way, they also encountered several waves of demonic beasts. But before they even warmed up, the demonic beasts were completely killed by sword masters from other kingdoms who had already formed an alliance. Lu Muyen took out her jade tablet for a look. The point rankings on it kept jumping around. She was pushed out of the top 40 in the morning already and was now fluctuating around 43rd. If this continued, she wouldn't even be able to advance into the top 10. She could only take a risk. I don't like getting political or anything, but I have to say here that I wish all the best for those experiencing the tragedies occurring in Ukraine and all those involved. Even the innocent Russian civilians who are protesting this war but are instead arrested. I know there are wars still ongoing elsewhere in the world that have also lasted a long time. But I want to highlight the current tragedy in Ukraine. I hope we will remain a loving community where acceptance and understanding stands strong over prejudice and hate during a time where it's so easy to vilify innocent civilians. Also, if there are any comments using humor to joke about this situation, they will be deleted. I understand humor can be a coping mechanism and I personally enjoy dark humor from time to time too. But not now. May our dreams come true. That day, the 3 groups that had formed an alliance didn't gain much. After entering the remote mountain, there were also many sword masters looking for demonic beasts everywhere, and the tier 6 demonic beasts that appeared nearby were practically all killed. GS group had already set off before dawn, competing around, hunting for tier 6 demonic beasts between the 2 cities, and their ranks jumped quickly. When they saw that Lu Muyen's team's points increased very slowly, they gloatingly guessed that Luo Yi and the others were dragged down Lu Muyen and her team, and secretly cursed serves you right. As night fell, the sword masters flocked to the city ahead of them. This was the second largest city, closest to the central city. It had a much wider area and towering walls, and was a little more solemn than the previous city. During the day, Luo Yi and the others basically didn't do much, so they were still rather energetic. After tidying up the room, they went to a restaurant in the city for dinner together. When a sword master reached Sword King cultivation base, immediate one was possible, so eating was just a habit or to just feel the atmosphere. Because of the presence of Luo Yi's team, although it was crowded in the restaurant, but they were able to book a quiet private room. Lu Mu Yen, these special dishes of the Stream Reflection restaurant can only be eaten in the 3 big cities in the competition space. Have a try. Luo Li picked up some food and placed it in Lu Mu Yan's bowl, his eyes staring at her brightly, as if asking her for praise. Lu Mu Yen lowered her head and took a bite, smiled and said, "It does taste pretty good. This dish should be expensive, right?" "How do you know this dish is expensive?" Helian Lai asked with a smile. These special dishes of Stream Reflection restaurant weren't for sale to the public. Only those who could book a private room could order them, and it depended on luck as well as it was limited daily. Lu Mu Yen came from the small kingdom of Yenzhou, so she naturally wouldn't be able to book a private room, and it didn't look like she had eaten it either. He was very curious about how she guessed the price. These dishes are all cooked with Tier 6 demonic beast meat and have added a lot of spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits for taste. After eating, not only is the taste good, but there is a heat flow with elemental energy lingering in the meridians. It's a good thing to replenish your physical strength with. Lu Mu Yen tasted a few casually and knew exactly what spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs were added to the dish, but she also noted down Stream Reflection restaurant. Back when she and the Yi clan in Luoxi City, Yi Qing Han and the others had introduced her to Stream Reflection restaurant strength, but she didn't expect it to reach this level. She put her chopsticks down and was silent for a moment. "What are you thinking about?" Luo Li saw that she didn't seem to be reminiscing the taste of the dishes. "I suddenly remembered a few friends and I wonder how they are in this competition space." Lu Mu Yen raised her eyes and said with a light smile, "Friend? Male?" Luo Li blurted out. Lu Mu Yen nodded. In saying that, she realized that she didn't really know many female friends. Those she had a good relationship with was only Yi Qing Lu, and she couldn't help but sigh that her relationship with women just wasn't good. Luo Li's long and narrow eyes flickered, then he changed the topic. "It seems that we have to leave the city early tomorrow, otherwise the demonic beasts would all be snatched by them. You won't earn any points if you go out of the city during the day. Why don't we just travel at night?" Lu Mu Yen suggested enthusiastically. If they wanted to obtain, then they naturally had to pay with something. It wasn't easy to advance into the top 10. Now, in order to earn points quickly, they could only take the night road and find beast tides to kill. The night road here isn't easy to travel. Even a small beast tide is difficult to deal with, basically composed of Tier 6 demonic beasts. Helian Lai also wanted to earn points, but he remained rational. It wasn't difficult for their group to deal with less than 100 Tier 6 demonic beasts, but if they encountered 300 or 400 Tier 6 demonic beasts, they definitely could only run for their lives. Lu Mu Yen tapped the table lightly with her finger. "I have a way to deal with small and medium-sized beast tides. Large beast tides can be avoided, so it's worth taking a little risk." Helian Lai pressed his lips together tightly when he heard her say that, pondering. If he continued like this, he would fall out of the top 100 and it would become uncertain if he could enter into the next round of the competition. If it were such a risk, he could try it. He didn't make an immediate decision but looked up at Luo Yi. Luo Yi was sitting up straight. Regardless of how much he restrained his noble temperament, he couldn't conceal his magnificence. He took a sip from his teacup and said, "I agree to take the risk. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site." Thanks his current ranking was just at 15th, which was far from the target he had set. He originally planned to take the risk of finding Tier 7 demonic beasts to kill and earn points once he arrived at the central area, but now with Lu Mu Yan's proposal, it should be less risky. Luo Yi's group had seen Lu Mu Yen and the several others block a beast tide with their own eyes, so they had no doubts about her words. "Sure. Let's go after eating." Helian Lai's lips rose into an arc, dashing and amorous. Lu Mu Yen got up and said, I want to go to the pill stores in the city to buy some spiritual herbs. Do you want to go together, or we'll gather at the city gate later? Let's go together. Luo Li immediately stood up. The others didn't have much interest in eating either, so they got up together to accompany her to buy spiritual herbs. After arriving at the largest pill store in the city, Lu Muyen used Luo Li's name and got the shopkeeper to take out all the spiritual herbs that they sold. The precious high-grade spiritual herbs in the store could only be bought by distinguished clans or people from the royal families from large kingdoms. She selected here and there, then chose 9/10 of the spiritual herbs. I want all of these. Calculate the price. The shopkeeper was startled when he saw it. He had been stationed in this pill store for 3 competitions, and this was the first time he had encountered such a customer. Sure, young miss, please wait. The shopkeeper picked up the list and checked them one by one. On the way, he gave a waiter in the store an obscure look, asking him to report to Elder Xiao. Lu Muyen, you're not sick, are you? Helian Lai was really shocked by this uninhibited behavior. This woman must have gone crazy, right? Why did she buy so many spiritual herbs? She didn't think of taking it out for resale, did she? Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. You're the one that's sick. You wouldn't be thinking to buy all these spiritual herbs then resell them outside, are you? Most of the spiritual herbs here only grew in this space, and it was hard to find them outside. In fact, some people did think about reselling it long ago, but the people in the pill stores weren't stupid either. If there was a price difference, wouldn't they make the money themselves? So how could they allow the sword masters to catch on to this loophole and make a profit? Dream on. Let me tell you, the price of the spiritual herbs here is higher than outside. If you want to resell it outside, don't waste your energy. Helian Lai reminded. Lu Muyen glanced at him. Do you think him that bored? She wasn't a fool. The pill tower wouldn't allow reselling to happen, and she didn't have much energy to do it either. If she were short of money, she could just sell a few pills. What's the point in reselling? It'd be a waste of time. The reason why she bought the spiritual herbs in the competition space was because she had to refine a large number of pills for the Lu clan after returning, for future use. Moreover, the variety of spiritual herbs here was complete. If she went out to buy it in a store outside, she wouldn't be able to buy it all in one place, and she might not even be able to find some spiritual herbs. Even if it were a little more expensive now, it saved time and trouble. Seeing her displeased, Helian Lai's lips twitched. If she wasn't bored to buy so many spiritual herbs, then what was it? Young miss, the total price of the spiritual herbs you want to buy has been calculated. The total is 28 million purple gold coins. The shopkeeper of the pill store handed a price list to Lu Muyen and said with a smile. Hearing the number, Lu Muyen's brows furrowed. She only had less than 1 million purple gold coins on her, not enough even for change. The more high-level the spiritual herbs were, the more expensive it was, but it wasn't a problem if she could buy it for money, so she naturally wouldn't feel distressed spending so much. Shopkeeper, I don't have so many purple gold coins with me right now. Can I exchange it with pills? Lu Muyen thought about it, then asked with a smile. Before the shopkeeper could even speak, there was a laugh of ridicule coming from behind. One idiot in this story is when people don't need to eat food to survive. I think I forgot to make a note the last time /s I mentioned it. It's a real thing you can search up, and it's considered a pseudoscience where people believe they don't need to eat food and water to survive. Chapter 222. He's not sick, is he? Before the shopkeeper could even speak, there was a laugh of ridicule coming from behind. It sure is the first time I've heard of anyone who dares to trade for spiritual herbs using pills at a pill shop set up under the pill tower. You're actually trying to show off skills in front of experts here at the pill tower? How courageous! Lu Muyen followed this unfamiliar voice and looked up, gazing over. A tall, beautiful, indistinguishably androgynous man walking in from the door of the store, but that peach-red color dressed on him looked truly gaudy. The man's voice of ridicule didn't actually sound that malicious. It only seemed to be expressing an opinion. See, Nan, you're really a dog who catches mice, meddlesome. Luo Li said impolitely when he saw the person who walked in. Lu Muyen looked at Luo Li in amusement. This little cat really got angry too easily. Si Nan and Luo Li had always disliked each other the most. He ignored Luo Li, and instead approached and scrutinized Lu Mu Yen, then said leisurely, "First-class appearance, first-class figure, first-class temperament. It's just a pity that your cultivation base is too unqualified." After speaking, he even showed a look of pity. "Most importantly, after staying with Luo Li for a long time, you've also become so naive, even wanting to use pills to exchange for spiritual herbs. A pity. Young Miss Lu, do you not know that this pill shop is the property of the pill tower? The sale of spiritual herbs is just supplementary. The important part is that they sell pills. If you don't have money to buy spiritual herbs, Luo Li this big fool does. Why play with the shopkeeper of the pill store?" Si Nan looked as if he was doing this all for her, but what he said was very worth beating up for. The smile on Lu Mu Yan's face didn't change much, but there wasn't much warmth in her eyes. Noisy. She seemed to understand now. This Si Nan and Luo Li didn't like each other, and he used her to suppress little cat Luo. She was also too lazy to argue with this kind of person who looked for trouble. 3 golden needles flew out of her sleeves and shot directly at Si Nan. Si Nan revealed a bit of surprise in his eyes, picked up the folding fan in his hand, channeled elemental energy and blocked it. But the 3 golden needles pierced straight through his folding fan and shot towards his neck. He didn't even have time to bring out his sword as he hurriedly resisted with his palm wind, knocking down 2 golden needles, but the other golden needle pierced right through the gap between his fingers and stabbed him right below the collarbone. His eyes widened, only to feel that his body went numb, and he lost all sensations. "What did you do to me?" he exclaimed in disbelief. The speed of this woman's golden needle was too fast, and the force was also quick, accurate, and ruthless. The material used to refine the golden needles was definitely unparalleled. Otherwise it would be impossible to shoot through his peak-quality spirit treasure. Most importantly, with his cultivation base, he was actually paralyzed after a single golden needle pierced him, and the elemental energy in his entire body was if it were frozen. This was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Lu Mu Yen waved her hand and the 3 golden needles disappeared into her sleeve. The others didn't even see it clearly. "Just to shut you up." Lu Mu Yen gave him a cold look and ignored him. "Hey, did you poison me? Woman, why are you this stingy? I'm just casually talking about it, so why did you act so viciously towards me?" Lu Mu Yen furrowed her brows and considered whether to block the mouth of this gaudy person. He was even noisier than Bing Ji. She didn't realize it herself, but the act of immobilizing Si Nan shocked everyone in the store. Si Nan wasn't only the leader of an elite team of a superpower kingdom, but his cultivation base was also at peak phase Sword Monarch. It was simply too frightening that this woman could use a hidden weapon to immobilize him. "Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site." Thanks. Luo Li blinked and turned around, nudging Lu Mu Yan's arm. "How did you freeze him?" This was too amazing. How did he not know that Lu Mu Yen had this sort of skill? Lu Mu Yen turned her head, smiled and blinked. "Would you like to try it too?" Luo Li shuddered and laughed dryly. "Forget it, let's Si Nan, this cheap thing, enjoy himself." Si Nan's teammates were completely stunned. An alchemist quickly walked up to him to check. Lu Mu Yen turned her head and asked the shopkeeper with a smile, "Your pill store doesn't accept pills?" According to her understanding, all pill shops on Tianling continent not only sold pills, but also bought pills. The stores under the smithing pavilion also sold magic tools and bought magic tools. It was just that because the reputations of the pill tower and the smithing pavilion were so resonant, so there were basically no sword masters who would come to the pill tower or smithing pavilion to sell pills or magic tools. Therefore Lu Mu Yan's move of wanting to exchange pills for spiritual herbs would attract Si Nan's mockery. "Accept, of course we accept." The shopkeeper was stunned for a moment, then immediately returned to his senses. He was also a little cautious of this woman who seemed to have a low cultivation base. He sure didn't forget that Si Nan, whose cultivation base was at Sword Monarch, was frozen by a single needle. I wonder what kind of pill young miss wants to use to trade? In fact, he also had no clue. When Lu Mu Yen wanted to trade pills for spiritual herbs, he also had the same thoughts as Si Nan, but he just didn't say it, that she was showing off skills in front of experts. But after what happened just now, using a single golden needle to restrain Sinan, it showed that she hid things deeply, and probably also did that on purpose to show him and the others, using it to awe them. Now he sure wanted to see what kind of pill she could take out to exchange for those spiritual herbs. Lu Muyen took out 2 porcelain bottles from her interspatial ring and introduced, "There are 2 kinds of grade 3 pills here. One of them is called Elemental Nourishing Pill, which can nourish one's elemental energy and consolidate one's origins, improving one's cultivation base. Its effect is similar to the Elemental Condensing Pill of the Pill Tower. The other kind of pill is called the Spiritual Energy Recovery Pill. A sword master at Sword Monarch Cultivation Base can use one and it will restore at least 2/3 of their Bodhis elemental energy." "What?" The shopkeeper revealed disbelief after hearing her introduction. How could that be possible? The Elemental Nourishing Pill that had a similar effect to the Elemental Condensing Pill was already surprising, but the effect of the Spiritual Energy Recovery Pill was simply too miraculous that he couldn't help but doubt. "Shopkeeper, if you take a closer look, wouldn't you know?" Lu Muyen handed the 2 porcelain bottles to the shopkeeper and said with a light smile. The shopkeeper took the bottles and opened one of them. A gentle, refreshing medicinal fragrance emanated from the bottle that filled the surroundings in just a few breaths. Its fragrance wasn't even outdone by the Elemental Condensing Pill. With a nervous expression, he instantly closed the bottle cap and opened the other bottle. The medicinal fragrance exuded this time was clear and sweet, and just by smelling it, it made people feel that their elemental energy was being replenished. Young Miss Pills cannot be judged by this one. May I ask an appraiser of this tower to appraise it? The shopkeeper put the cap back onto the other bottle and looked at Lu Muyen carefully, asking. At this moment, all the doubts in the shopkeeper's heart had dissipated, and he had a little more respect for Lu Muyen, who was able to take out such pills. "Sure, take it." Lu Muyen nodded, "But please hurry, I have something to do tonight." "Yes, please wait a moment, young Mississippi." After speaking, the shopkeeper hurried up to the 2nd floor. And at this time, the sword masters who were buying pills and spiritual herbs from the pill tower looked at Lu Muyen with various gazes, completely different from the previous. Sinan's body also recovered from paralysis at this time, and he also smelled the medicinal fragrance of the 2 pills. He was certain that the pill called Elemental Nourishing Pill was definitely even more effective than Peerless Quality Elemental Condensing Pills. That Spiritual Energy Recovery Pill that had never been heard of before was even more extraordinary. Moving his numb body a bit, he leaned in beside Lu Muyen with a gaudy smile and cupped his hands. "Young Miss Lao's golden needle skill is indeed truly extraordinary, Sinan truly admires." Lu Muyen took a step back and looked at Sinan, who had approached her, with disgust, raised an eyebrow and asked Luoli, "He's not sick, is he?" Chapter 223, Sin, he's not sick, is he? When Sinan heard Lu Muyen say this, he couldn't resist twitching the corners of his lips. How could he, a man with background, strength, and most importantly, was so handsome and unrestrained, be sick? Yes, he is suck, his mouth's poisonous, is narcissistic, and has a mental problem. Luo Li nodded in agreement. Sinan glared at Luo Li, who dropped stones onto someone who had fallen into a well. He just knew that every time he saw this kid, there wouldn't be anything good coming out of it. "Young Miss Lu, I misunderstood you just now. I apologize. I will hold a banquet in the Stream Reflection restaurant to express my apologies to young Miss. What do you think?" Sinan's smile bloomed flowers everywhere to express friendship. Lu Muyen glanced at him. This man flipped faces faster than flipping books, with deep scheming, and was able to be flexible. "Not interested." Lu Muyen refused. She didn't want to have anything to do with Sinan at all. This guy's purpose definitely wasn't pure. "Don't. Young Miss Lu, through exchanging blows, friendship grows, let's be friends." Sinan thickened his skin and said with a smile. The corners of the lips of the team members behind him twitched. Leader's sickness acted up again. As a dignified leader of a superpower kingdom's team, why must he humbly lower himself to talk to a little girl? His bad interests were definitely showing again. Seeing that the frivolous person was getting closer again, Luo Li stood in front of Lu Mu Yen and said with furrowed brows, "Si Nan, stay away from Lu Mu Yen, you stinky shameless bastard. Luo Li, your skin's itchy again after not being beaten for a few days, huh?" Si Nan opened his gold foil fan that was pierced by Lu Mu Yan's golden needle and shook it. Looking at the posture of the two, they definitely fought a lot. Lu Mu Yen saw that although the two quarreled the moment they met, and even wanted to fight, but neither of them had the slightest killing intent. It seemed that they were the kind of friends who had a love-hate relationship. Luo Li rolled up his sleeves and huffed, saying, "Come at me. You two go fight, later you can go drink tea after leaving the competition space." Lu Mu Yen tossed out the sentence leisurely. The two froze for a moment, then each huffed coldly and no longer prepared to fight. Even if it were just sparring, it would be judged as a fight, and no matter who it was, they would be disqualified from the competition. Si Nan wanted to approach Lu Mu Yen again to chat, but was blocked by Luo Li, and Lu Mu Yen ignored him completely. Oh, the regret in his heart. In fact, he didn't have any malicious intentions towards Lu Mu Yen when he taunted her before. He just wanted to see if Luo Li really valued her as he was rumored to be. He and Luo Li's friendship began with fighting. They appeared to be attacking each other on the surface, but in private, they were actually best friends. He didn't go to the trade fair last time because he had a situation. During the day, he heard Mu Tong and Luo Qing say Luo Li was being played around by a woman, and tonight he happened to hear Lu Mu Yan's big talk, so he couldn't resist wanting to test. But who knew that he would kick an iron plate? This woman named Lu Mu Yen was definitely not as superficial as what Luo Qing and Mu Tong said. Whether it was her calm and composed temperament, or the self-confidence she unconsciously revealed, it showed that she wasn't someone mediocre. Especially after Lu Mu Yen took out the two kinds of pills, he even cursed Luo Qing and Mu Tong inwardly. Who would have thought that a pupil from the Luo clan's branch would dare to besmirch Luo Li behind his back? Luo Qing and Mu Tong were spreading rumors today while hunting, saying that you're enchanted by and infatuated with a woman, and that woman even self-proclaimed to be a high-level spiritual wine master, and how only a fool like you would believe it. Si Nan's ability to stab people definitely was top-notch. They also said that you spent a lot of money for a woman from a small kingdom, not only collecting spiritual herbs and gifting spiritual stones, but even giving her a heavenly frost golden crystal to trade for a dead soul-nourishing wood. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. After I heard it, I was filled with indignation, and then I heard young Miss Lu say that she wanted to use pills to exchange for spiritual herbs and couldn't help but want to test her. I was also afraid that you'd be deceived. Seeing Luo Li's grim look, Si Nan immediately added, and the results of the testing show that those people were absolutely slandering her, and even I almost believed it. Most of what he said was true, and he bluntly told that Lu Mu Yen he was testing, so it made people feel less disgusted. Lu Mu Yen took a few glances at Si Nan. This man was mean and had a black heart, but he could tell right from wrong, and he wasn't shy to admit his mistakes, which made her dislike towards him lessen a bit. Luo Qing that one who lives off of one person but helps another. Wait until this little master meets him next time, he'll definitely clean the household. Luo Li had already seen Luo Qing's disgusting, sanctimonious, hypocritical appearance, but he didn't expect that even when the Luo clan spared his life, that person actually still dared to ruin his and Lu Mu Yan's reputation everywhere. He truly deserved to die. Killing intent flashed in Luo Ye's eyes. Luo Qing's ambitions not only grew too big, but he also dared to slander Luo Li, that truly violated his baseline. Lu Mu Yen, I didn't mean to tell others that you can make spiritual wine. Luo Li was afraid that Lu Mu Yen would be angered at him when she heard Si Nan's words. He was angrier than anyone else knowing Lu Mu Yen was being slandered by people from the Luo clan and Mu Tong. Lu Mu Yen smiled without care. No worries, I know you won't hurt me. Luo Li took the spiritual wine she gifted to Luo Ye's place that day, and then Luo Qing left alone. At that time, that person probably said something bad about herself before being driven away by Luo Li. I definitely won't hurt you. Luo Li's heart felt so sweet when he heard Lu Muyen trust him like this. Lu Muyen smiled. She already regarded Luo Li as that little cat she kept before, and she had an inexplicable trust in him, including him as one of her own. Sinan saw that the relationship between the two didn't seem to be fake, and he could see that Luo Li was really interested in Lu Muyen, but the gaze that Lu Muyen looked at Luo Li with didn't have any love, only pampering. At this time, the shopkeeper hurriedly walked down from the second floor and said to Lu Muyen with a smile, "Young miss, the elder of the Pill Tower invites you for a discussion on the second floor." Lu Muyen nodded, "Trouble you to lead the way." Seeing Luo Li and the others following, the shopkeeper didn't stop them either. Even Lu Muyen wasn't afraid to expose herself. Naturally, he wouldn't be a bad person. Sinan had a tendency to like joining the fun to begin with, so he raised his foot and followed. Seeing this, the other sword masters were itching as well, but they didn't dare follow. Luo Li and Sinan were termed the little overlords and rogues of superpower kingdoms. They definitely wouldn't be able to walk away safely if they provoked them. Lu Muyen didn't mind revealing her identity as an alchemist. Ever since knowing that there were people from the 6 major sects and other major forces paying attention to this space, she no longer kept a low profile. This was a way to increase her bargaining chips. After arriving on the second floor, the shopkeeper led them into the innermost room. In the room, sandalwood burned with wisps of smoke and a refreshing scent lingered. Sitting inside was an elegant, elderly man, precisely Elder Xiao, who appeared at the trade fair before. "Young Miss Lu, we meet again." Elder Xiao slowly opened his eyes and a gleam of sharp light quickly flashed across his eyes. In front of him were 2 white porcelain bottles, precisely Lu Muyen's pills. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and said, "Greetings, Elder Xiao." "Young miss, please sit." Elder Xiao nodded kindly towards her. Then he turned his attention to Luo Li and the others. "I have something to discuss with young Miss Lu. If you need to do anything, then you can leave first." Inside and out, the meaning of his words was obvious, to kick them out. But there were just some people who pretended not to understand. Sinan sat right beside Elder Xiao and said with a silly smile, "We're not busy." "Come true." "We're not busy." Sinan's face skin one had long become impenetrable. He sat down, full of smiles, with a look as if saying, "I want leave." Seeing that he wasn't leaving, Luo Li glared at him and also sat down beside Lu Muyen impolitely. "We're also not busy." There was only one table with 5 chairs in total. At this time, 3 of them had been occupied. Although Helian Lai's face skin wasn't as thick as Sinan's, but wasn't much thinner either, so he also sat his bottom on one. Seeing this, Elder Xiao instructed the shopkeeper in amusement, "Let someone bring some more chairs in." With these 3 thick-skinned people staying, he naturally couldn't favor one and discriminate against the others. Since they wanted to stay, then they should all remain. Either way, Lu Muyen didn't even care, so it could be considered a favor done at little to no cost. "Elder Xiao, can my pills be exchanged for those spiritual herbs?" Lu Muyen didn't go around in circles with him either. They still had to travel at night. Elder Xiao smiled meaningfully and asked, "Can this old man ask how you obtained these pills, young Miss Lu?" When Lu Muyen took out the grade 3 pills at the trade fair that day, he could smell the pure scent of pills, but he didn't think she refined it herself. "It was given to me by my master." Lu Muyen smiled lightly. Her current cultivation base was too low, and no one would believe that she refined these pills herself. It was better to continue to use a tiger's skin to be her banner too, so that these old foxes could be cautious and fearful. Elder Xiao was stunned for a moment, then said with a gentle smile, "I wonder who might be young Miss Lao's master? There are not many alchemists on the entire Tianling continent who could make such high-grade pills." The pills that Lu Muyen took out were all top-quality grade 3 pills, and the pill fragrance lasted for a very long time. Even compared to grade 3 pills refined by grade 4 alchemists from the Pill Tower, her master's technique was much more skilled and experienced, so he truly wanted to befriend him. "Apologies, without the permission of master, I dare not reveal his identity." Lu Muyen didn't report the name of old man Tian Xian this time. Elder Xiao revealed some regret but also understood that some high-level alchemists like to keep a low profile. Since that is so, this old man will not force it. Are you buying these spiritual herbs for your master? Judging from the information he had collected recently, Lu Mu Yen would sweep away all the spiritual herbs in pill shops each time she arrived at a city in the competition space. Apart from this reason, he couldn't figure out why she bought so many spiritual herbs. When I entered the competition space, Master asked me to buy a lot of spiritual herbs from the pill shop. Lu Mu Yen revealed a little shyness. I didn't take the purple crystal card Master gave me. Who knew that the spiritual herbs would be this expensive? As my pockets are shy 3, I could only exchange using pills. When Luo Li and the others heard her reveal such an expression, they couldn't resist holding their foreheads. This girl's acting skills sure were top-notch. The value of your 2 pills has already exceeded the price of the list of spiritual herbs you requested before. I will ask the shopkeeper to add an extra 3/10 of spiritual herbs for it to be of equal value. Elder Xiao wasn't one to take advantage of the younger generation. The pills that Lu Mu Yen took out were indeed very valuable, especially that spiritual energy recovery pill. According to his experience, after taking it, it could indeed achieve the effect she said. Then many thanks to Elder Xiao. Lu Mu Yen smiled humbly. I wonder if you still have any more of these 2 types of pills to sell or exchange for spiritual herbs. I can transfer the spiritual herbs from the central city over for you to buy. He wanted to bring the pills back to the pill tower for research, so one was simple too few. Lu Mu Yan's eyes curved into crescent shapes as she smiled. Sure. I just don't know whether the spiritual herbs in the central city are the same as here or not. Elder Xiao wanted more pills, then she would just give some more. She wasn't worried that they would use it to research the composition of spiritual herbs in the pills at all. If she didn't even have that much confidence, then she wouldn't need to continue to roam the alchemist community. The purchase of a large number of spiritual herbs in the central city was bound to attract more people's attention. Now that Elder Xiao himself brought it up, why shouldn't she take it? This is a list of all the spiritual herbs sold by the pill tower in the competition space. See if there are any you want to trade for. Elder Xiao took out a jade slip and handed it to Lu Mu Yen. Lu Mu Yen took the jade slip and checked it, finding that there were many high-level spiritual herbs on the list. Not only were the prices extremely high, but one needed a certain identity to be able to buy it in limited quantities. Can I trade for the limited spiritual herbs too? Lu Mu Yen blinked and asked with a smile. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, since Elder Xiao wanted to give her preferential treatment, he naturally wouldn't object. Yes. Lu Mu Yen waited precisely for this answer. After she crossed out several kinds of spiritual herbs that were of little use to her, she said, aside from the spiritual herbs I crossed out, I want them all. Elder Xiao took a look and his eyelids jumped instantly. This girl sure spent so much money. But he did have such authority. Although it's a little troublesome, but I can gather it. You can trade when you get to the central area. Elder Xiao said. Then how many pills do I need to exchange for it? Lu Mu Yen asked. Elder Xiao stroked the porcelain bottle on the table, thought about it, then said, 6 spiritual energy recovery pills, 3 elemental nourishing pills. I originally planned to keep some spares, but now I'll just have to lose money for the sake of master. Lu Mu Yen agreed with gritted teeth, with an expression as if her flesh hurt. The transaction number Elder Xiao proposed was very reasonable and he didn't deceive her, which also made her impression of the pill tower a little better. He'll give these 6 spiritual energy recovery pills and 3 elemental nourishing pills to Elder Xiao first. Then he'll go to the pill shop in the central city to pick up the spiritual herbs. Lu Mu Yen took out several bottles of pills very generously. Elder Xiao said with a smile on his face, Little girl sure is resolute. Aren't you afraid that this old one will fool you and act as if such a thing didn't happen? Elder Xiao seems to have a sense of righteousness, so you naturally won't act as if this didn't happen or breach our promise. I believe in my own judgment. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were clear, and she smiled naturally, appearing as if the words came from her heart without the slightest falsehood. Elder Xiao was taken aback for a moment, then he laughed happily. You're a rather lovable little girl. He had been paying attention to this little girl Lu Mu Yen since the first time he saw her. She handled affairs without fear, treated anyone neither humbly or haughtily, and her indifferent, otherworldly temperament made people unable to resist feeling good about her. In addition, she had a very light medicinal fragrance, so she must be an alchemist, which also had Elder Xiao feel a kind of closeness, as if a senior watching a junior. Hearing Elder Xiao's address of her change from young Miss Lu to little girl, the expressions on the people present varied. Elder Xiao was notoriously difficult to approach, yet who knew that Lu Mu Yen obtained his favor at first glance for? They'll give this pill tower token to you. When you get to the central city, take it to the pill shop and there will naturally be someone who will send you the spiritual herbs you want. Elder Xiao tossed over a palm-sized cyan token to Lu Mu Yen, in a good mood. Lu Mu Yen received the token and took a look at it. There was a complicated pattern engraved on the token, and within the pattern was the word pill. Seeing Elder Xiao take out this cyan token, Si Nan and Helian Lai couldn't resist revealing shock and envy in their eyes. Then I won't be polite. My gratitude, Elder Xiao. Although Lu Mu Yen didn't know what the token could be used for, but she knew it was a good thing seeing the expressions of Si Nan and the others. Seeing her accept it without being quarrelsome and without pretense, her beautiful pair of eyes narrowed in a smile, like a little fox that had successfully cheated someone of something. Elder Xiao's like for her increased. Luo Li and the others were also dazzled by her lively smile. Come true one, so, in case people didn't know, wanting face or having no face etc., figuratively means being shameless. In this case, it's common play on those words meaning that his face skin is so thick he doesn't care and won't feel shameful or embarrassed by his actions. 2 figuratively means to scare the opponent by intimidation / make others think she's mighty by using something that looks mighty. 3 pockets being shy means she doesn't have money / enough money. For whom? Not the easiest to translate. It's used to mean that one person might like the other person from the very first glance. I guess I could translate it to faded at first glance, but it sounds a bit too romantic if I translated it like that. The Chinese is, Yen Yuan. Means I, is fate. Chapter 225. The time to earn points has come after leaving the pill shop. Sinan followed the people along the way with his thick skin and unreasonable manner. No matter how much Luo Li provoked him, he wouldn't leave. Luo Li, what's the use of the pill tower token that Elder Xiao gave me just now? Lu Mu Yen asked Luo Li beside him. Luo Li pushed aside Si Nan who was about to come over and said, the pill tower token is a good thing. Using it, you can go to all the pill tower properties to buy things, not only giving you discounts, but you can also buy pills or spiritual herbs that require a certain identity and are on limited sale. Aside from that, there's no other uses? Lu Mu Yen just felt that the cyan token wasn't that simple. Everyone who held the pill tower token can enjoy the treatment of distinguished guests. As for how they can enjoy it, I don't know. Luo Li shrugged. It's very rare for the pill tower to issue a pill tower token, and only those elders who hold real power are qualified to gift one. But it's said that those who obtained one have either the status or the strength and were very powerful. Sounds very similar to the Ming Alliance token. Lu Mu Yen remembered that she still had the Ming Alliance token lying in her interspatial ring and wondered how Ming Xiu, that guy, was doing now. Helian Lai said in surprise, you don't know about the pill tower token, but you know of the Ming Alliance token? Is that weird? Lu Mu Yen asked. Helian Lai said, the Ming Alliance token is even more useful than the pill tower token, and the amount given out were even less. There are only 2 powerhouses in our Dongshuan kingdom that have a Ming Alliance token. The pill tower has the pill tower token, the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance has the Ming Alliance token, then does the smithing pavilion have some sort of token? Lu Mu Yen asked with a light smile. Si Nan pushed away Helian Lai's handsome face, revealing a brilliant smile. I know this. The smithing pavilion naturally has their fire pavilion token. Lu Mu Yen nodded lightly, wondering when she should go get a fire pavilion token to play with. Seeing that Lu Mu Yen didn't give him any nice looks, he touched his nose, looking helpless. Wasn't it all because he was tricked by Luo Qinghe and the others? The several people quickly walked out of the city and rushed towards the closest largest city to the central area. Are you going to travel at night? Sinan followed and asked in surprise when he found that the three groups of people were traveling at a very fast speed after they left the city. Luo Li rolled his eyes at him. Otherwise? We won't be entertaining you since we have to hurry. You should go back to the city. You three teams have made an alliance? Sinan looked at him and asked. As long as your eyes aren't blind, you can see it. Luo Li snorted coldly. Sinan's long and narrow eyes were filled with brilliance, and he said with a smile, add our group to it. You didn't go find Mo Ling and Yen Jun for an alliance? Luo Li raised an eyebrow and asked. Mo Ling is too cold and boring. Yen Jun disappeared for no apparent reason 5 days ago, and who knows what he went to do. Sinan thickened his skin and rubbed against Luo Li's side, saying, So I can only rely on you, buddy. Don't talk nonsense, you stinky shameless bastard. Who's your buddy? Luo Li took a few steps away from him with a look of disgust. Arath, I'm serious. Let me join your alliance too. Sinan was looking at Luo Yi when he said this. Luo Yi's clear voice echoed in the night, very pleasant, I don't care. Sinan immediately turned his gaze to Lu Muyen. Young Miss Lu, what do you think? I don't care either. Lu Muyen glanced at him and replied coldly. Sinan discovered that his masculine charm actually didn't have any advantage in front of Lu Muyen, but don't care meant that it was a yes. Then we're allies from now on. Sinan, have you asked my opinion? Helian Lai played with the folding fan in his hand, then glanced at the gold foil fan in Sinan's hands and pursed his lips. This man really was gaudy. Sinan raised an eyebrow. They all agreed, your opinion isn't important. Humph, Luo Li is right, you're very dislikable. Helian Lu snorted coldly. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Then Luo Li also joined in the cursing battle against Sinan, and the three of them ridiculed back and forth very cheerfully. Lu Muyen smiled speechlessly. The friendship between these three was really very weird. There's a medium beast tide gathering 2 kilometers ahead. Mo Yan's voice echoed in Lu Muyen's ears. Lu Muyen's eyes lit up and she said to everyone, There's a medium-sized beast tide 2 kilometers ahead, the time to earn points has come. After she finished speaking, she tapped her toes and disappeared from their field of vision as a stream of light in the dark night. Yun Zmo and the others didn't hesitate either and accelerated towards the direction of her disappearance. Seeing Luo Li and the others also speeding up, Sinan was taken aback. What did she mean by there's a medium-sized beast tide ahead, and that the time to earn points has come? It wasn't how he thought it was it? Of course it's that we'll be going to kill the beasts in the beast tides and earn points, idiot. Luo Li rolled his eyes at him, then ignored him as he and Luo Yi and the others also disappeared in a flash. Taking the initiative to find a beast tide to kill? Have they all gone crazy? Sinan turned to look at Helian Lai, who was prepared to catch up to them. Helian Lai curled his lips. I also think they're crazy, but it's very exciting. Maybe you'll start liking it too. After answering without waiting for Sinan's reaction, he took the elite team of Dongshuan Kingdom and also rushed forward. They're completely influenced by that woman named Lu Muyen. They even thought of something as crazy as this. A team member behind Sinan said. Another furrowed their brows and asked, Then should we follow? Sinan's eyes were as deep as the sea and his face revealed a rare look of seriousness. After pondering, he waved his hand and said, Follow. Why shouldn't we follow? Even Helian Lai, with his crafty personality, can't wait to chase after them. It definitely must be profitable. The several other people thought that it was the case too. It was understandable if Luo Li was enchanted by a beauty and lost his reason, but Luo Yi and Helian Lu couldn't both be hot-headed. So the team quickly followed as well. Roar, roar. It was just that as soon as they approached the beast tide, Sinan's group was completely stunned by the sight in front of them. Ahead, countless walls of fire rose into the sky, dividing the gathered demonic beasts into more than a dozen small waves, and a small black flag constantly shook in the sky above. Luo Yi and the others at this time were within the separated fire walls, killing the demonic beasts that had been separated into smaller waves. Even that unremarkable team of Lu Mu Yans killed demonic beasts without ambiguity or hesitation. Each strike was pretty much quick, accurate, ruthless, specifically targeting the weak points of demonic beasts. Even at first glance, they basically looked like experienced hunters. They definitely had done this sort of thing more than once. The most blinding thing was that Lu Mu Yen controlled the array while also controlling 10 golden flying swords to shuttle among the Tier 6 demonic beasts. Each strike of the sword took a life. Either that, or she directly blasted them with her fist, bombarding a demonic beast whose cultivation base was even higher than her to death in only a few punches. The woman had beauty that could cause the downfall of a kingdom, while her figure was like a ghost. The light purple clothes set her off as noble and mysterious, as if an Azura one from hell, with a devilish beauty beneath the firelight at night. Fuck, was this still a woman? A team member behind Si Nan was tongue-tied in amazement when he saw that Lu Mu Yen could kill a Tier 6 demonic beast in close-quarters combat. How domineering! One of the men sighed with various emotions. When Luo Li saw that Si Nan's group had arrived but just watched Lu Mu Yen and didn't help, his face darkened as he roared, "Si Nan, what tray you looking at, you damned shameless bastard? Hurry up and come help." Only then did Si Nan and the others return to their senses, and they rushed into the battle circle to join in the slaughter of the demonic beasts. Because the 4 teams were all very powerful, it only took 4 hours to harvest this medium-sized beast tide wave. Under Mo Yan's probing, they killed 3 small beast tides that night and their points skyrocketed, attracting the attention of many forces. 1 Malevolent beings in Hindu mythology apparently. Chapter 226. All of them sure were arrogant. Only when the sky had brightened, did the 4 teams of talents drag their weary bodies to the largest refuge city in the competition space besides the central city. On the city tower, Jiyu looked at the 20 or so people who had just entered the city. Their points are growing so fast, could it be that they're traveling at night? Mu Tong stared at Lu Mu Yen with a grim expression. This woman really was a vixen. Not only did she seduce the 2 Luo brothers, but even Helian Lai and Si Nan's attitude towards her was very different. Jiyu took out the dark purple jade tablet and glanced at it. The point rankings of those people had risen a lot. Luo Li and Lu Mu Yen, who had already dropped out of the top 40, were now back at 30-something in just one night. Seeing how tired they are, it should have been a night of bloody battles. Let's go out of the city to ambush and hunt. We can't let them surpass our points. Jiyu put away the jade tablet and leapt off the city wall. The rest of their group also leapt down and rushed towards a remote mountain in the distance. As soon as Lu Mu Yen and her party entered the city, they gained the attention of many forces. They ignored it, however, and went to Rongza Kingdom's small courtyard at an inn and began to recover. When night fell, the doors in the small courtyard opened one after another, and the 4 teams of people went out to hunt together. Mo Ling stood at a high place, prideful, aloof, and cool. He watched Luo Yi and his party leave, and there was a strange color in his calm eyes. Young Lord, Luo Yi and the others seemed to have changed their hunting time tonight. A man behind him said. After a while, Mo Ling said, "Let's observe another day." Yes. Lu Mu Yen and the others didn't rush towards the last target, the central city. The demonic beasts near there were generally Tier 7 demonic beasts. If they weren't careful, they might accidentally provoke a Tier 7 small beast tide, which would be troublesome. The central city generally gathered crowds in the last 10 days. By then, the competition for points would have become subsidiary and everyone's purpose would be to compete for the identity jade tablets. That night, their harvest wasn't too big and they only intercepted 4 waves of small beast tides. When dawn arrived and they returned to the city, the number of spies gradually increased outside the inn where they stayed at. Let's rest during the day today and well follow to see what tricks they're playing tonight. Jiyu looked at the names that changed ranks last night on his jade tablet and his eyes sank. If they went on like this, they wouldn't be able to keep their top 10 rankings. Mu Tong had long wanted to kill Lu Mu Yen in the wild, and there was a cruel look on her beautiful face. Tonight, I will definitely tear that vixen into tens of thousands of pieces. Ji Yu furrowed his brows slightly as he looked at her, and the image of that white-clothed, cold and prideful woman, with elegance and intellectual brilliance, appeared in his mind. He sighed and clenched his hands. Power, benefits, and strength were more important. When Lu Muyen and the others set out from the city at night, there were actually more than a dozen groups of people secretly following behind. "They're following us, how about we kill them all?" Si Nan's androgynous handsome face revealed a wicked smile and even made a gesture of slicing his neck with his hands. Luo Li rolled his eyes at him. "Ji Yu and Mo Ling's elite team are also following. You go up first and kill those two, then we'll clean up the rest. Ji Yu can't beat me, but Mo Ling is a bit tricky. I'm afraid that only Lord Luo could handle him." Si Nan analyzed it seriously. Luo Yi didn't pay any attention to him at all. If Mo Ling was so easy to kill, he wouldn't have fought to fame in only one battle when he was young. "You really are sick. They're probably just following to see how we hunt demonic beasts at night. It's not like they're sneak attacking, so it's not justifiable for us to take the initiative to kill them. And if we can't kill them, then we'd be making a few big enemies." Luo Li glanced suspiciously at Si Nan. "You damned shameless bastard's heart is impure. Are you trying to kill Mo Ling by borrowing my elder brother's hand?" Si Nan rolled his eyes. He was just making a random suggestion. How did it become his heart being impure? Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, that's right, who asked Mo Ling to have violated before. Remembering the last time he fought against Mo Ling and was injured by him, he felt a surge of anger. One day he would definitely find a way to regain his stage from that cold-faced ghost. If Mo Ling heard what you said just now, he would definitely make you die miserably. Luo Li sneered. "Si Nan, this damned shameless bastard's brain was definitely ill. There's a medium-sized beast tied to the east, but this time, there are 2 Tier 7 demonic beast leaders." Lu Muyen looked into the distance and explained the situation that Mo Yan's demonic sense gathered. Luo Yi pinched his fingers to calculate. "We can go. Si Nan, it's time to put you to use." Luo Li put his hand on Si Nan's shoulder as if they were good buddies. He should just let this damned shameless bastard to deal with the Tier 7 demonic beasts. Si Nan raised his chin arrogantly. "This master will be afraid?" Seeing that the two were still joking around at such a critical moment, Helian Lai immediately interrupted. "Stop joking around and let's talk business. Are we still using the previous strategy with so many people following?" Seeing everyone looking at him, he immediately asked. Lu Muyen swept her rear casually, then shrugged indifferently. "Of course. Otherwise, how can we earn points? If those people follow and they decide not to kill, then their points would definitely fall again. We rest during the day and act at night, and our points are increasing so fast, so it's normal to be targeted." Luo Yi took the first step ahead. "Let's go." Although Helian Lai and the others were a little worried about the dozen or so teams behind, but right now, this was the only way to increase their points. At least it was better than going to the central city to specifically kill those Tier 7 transformation stage demonic beasts to earn points like those abnormal monster cultivators of previous tournaments. "Follow." Seeing Luo Yi and the others speed up, Ji Yu and the more than a dozen elite teams couldn't resist and followed them. Roar, roar. The roars of countless high-level demonic beasts resounded throughout the canyon, as if they had long been prepared for battle. "Be careful tonight." The 2 Tier 7 demonic beasts seemed to have come prepared. Mo Yan's eyes were indifferent. The 2 transformation stage demonic beasts were just like ants to him. Lu Muyen looked at him with a smile and telepathically said, "How about you go display your power and prestige a bit?" "Not interested. Unless it's a matter of life and death, otherwise I definitely won't act." Mo Yen closed his eyes and rested. Bing Ji pouted, cursing inwardly. "What are you acting so proud for? You're speaking as if you can easily strangle a Tier 7 demon cultivator. Owner, how about you undo my seal today and let me display my power and prestige?" Bing Ji rubbed against her decisively. Little Owner's accomplishments in the path of the array were so profound, he believed that she definitely was able to lift Ming Xiu's seal. Go look for Ming Xiu to lift it. Lu Muyen was too lazy to pay attention to him. Although Ming Xiu did tell her how to break the seal before he left, but she wasn't going to let this stinky bird transform. His cultivation base was suppressed to tier 6 right now, but he still thought about going out and jumping around all day. If he recovered the strength of a tier 8, then it wasn't certain what sort of trouble he would cause. Bing Ji instantly looked like a defeated rooster. It seems that I can't display my power and prestige and be arrogant tonight. Otherwise, just watch how I kill those 2 tier 7 little vermin. He didn't telepathically say those words, but instead directly said them aloud, which instantly caused Si Nan and the others to roll their eyes. It really was with what kind of owner, there would be what kind of spirit pet, all of them sure were arrogant. Chapter 227. The Beauty is Fierce. Not long after, when they arrived at the canyon, they saw the densely packed, very orderly demonic beasts gathering in front of them. Still the old rule, you'll use an array to separate the beast tide, and you all kill quickly. Lu Muyen looked at the 2 human-like figures up in the air in the distance. Luo Yi, we might need to rely on you to restrain the tier 7 demonic beasts. Luo Yi's eyes were clear and clean, nodding lightly. Si Nan swept the sky in the distance and said lazily, I can restrain one. He left a bad impression on Lu Muyen and the others before, so it was even more imperative to reverse his image. He may not be able to kill the tier 7 demon cultivator perfectly, but he can still stall it or defeat it. Alright, you can both go greet them when they initiate the attack. Lu Muyen knew that for Si Nan to be able to become the leader of an elite superpower kingdom team, then his strength naturally wouldn't be weak. More than a dozen teams behind them also arrived at this time, and when they saw the densely packed tier 6 demonic beasts in front of them, they couldn't help but feel a little numb in their scalps. It would be fine for each person to take on a few of those beasts, but if they were surrounded by a large group, then they would be in danger. Many people wanted to retreat. Mu Tong's eyes revealed surprise and fear, then she pulled Ji's clothes. How about we go back to the city first? There are so many tier 6 demonic beasts gathered here, those that enter might have difficulty escaping. Jiyu pulled his sleeves out of her hands, his voice cold. The woman named Lu Muyen is only at peak phase Sword King cultivation base, but she's not afraid. What are you afraid of? Mu Tong clenched her fists. She gritted her teeth and stood beside Jiyu. Watching the 4 groups of people not far away, she didn't believe that Vixen wouldn't be afraid. In a bit, Luo Li and the others would probably have to find time to protect her. She would definitely drag them down. Then let's see how she won't be afraid. Jiyu stopped talking and looked straight ahead. If Luo Yi and the others were trapped deeply in the beast tide, with how himself and the others were positioned, they could still retreat in time. Mo Ling folded his arms and leaned against a big tree. The coldness of his body combined with the night wind that blew slowly made him look extremely desolate. Have Luo Yi and the others gone crazy? A team member behind him asked in confusion when he saw that Luo Yi and the others not only did not retreat, but instead leapt towards the beast tide. Mo Ling furrowed his brows slightly. They're not fools. Keep watching. He didn't believe that Luo Yi and the others would use their lives for a joke. As soon as Lu Muyen approached the group of beasts, she tapped her toes and leapt up into the sky, tossing jade stones, that she had long nourished well, used for arranging arrays one by one towards 14 different locations. The demonic beasts here didn't just have a lot of abilities but were also very strong. If she only used one 7-star array, then she was afraid that the beast tide would destroy the defense, so she arranged a chain of 7-star fire arrays. 14 stones entered the ground instantly and traces of spiritual force wound around them and moved. She stretched out her hand and an array flag fell over the array. The black flag slowly unfolded like a picture scroll. She utilized flash steps and continuously shuttled through the tier 6 demonic beasts, forming seals and arranging the array, her figure ghostly, flexible and free, as if she had reached a realm of being non-existent. What's going on? What's she going to do? Someone behind Mo Ling said in surprise. This woman's so agile. Mo Ling remembered the beast-killing trapping array method that night and his cold eyes brightened slightly, watching Lu Muyen arrange the array. She will use an array to aid the battle. Use an array to aid the battle? Is it useful against so many demonic beasts? A member of the team at the back had uncertainty and suspicion in his tone. Well, no, if we keep watching. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Mu Tong saw Lu Mu Yan's agile movements, maneuvering back and forth within the demonic beasts, completely unafraid, and her face was terrifyingly grim. She simply couldn't believe it. Is she seeking death? This woman isn't simple. Unlike Mu Tong, who resented Lu Mu Yan a lot, from Ji's point of view, to be able to maneuver through the beasts as if non-existent and still survive safely was something that even he couldn't do. Her footwork should be a high-level method. Seeing Lu Mu Yan so arrogantly moving within the group, she suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. It would probably be difficult for her to kill her today, so she had to borrow Ji's power. Sure enough, after hearing her words, Ji's deep eyes moved. After Lu Mu Yan arranged the array, she snapped her fingers and transparent jade balls rose from her fingertips into the air one by one, echoing with the array. And after she withdrew from the beast group, the gathering demonic beasts all rioted. This human woman was practically challenging their dignity. Roar, roar. The numerous beast roars were deafening, and the demonic beasts looked at Lu Mu Yan with fierce eyes. They clawed the ground and rushed in her direction. Rise. Lu Mu Yan's eyes narrowed and shouted coldly. Piu piu. At the fall of her words, countless walls of flames surged up from the ground, separating the advancing group of beasts. She stood on top of a golden longsword in midair and formed a few Taoist seals, appearing in the air, 7-star fire array, bind. Immediately afterwards, one saw the walls of fire tumble apart, forming 4 walls after 4 walls, separating the demonic beasts in the group, and each 4-sided wall would surround less than 20 Tier 6 demonic beasts. She stepped lightly and the golden sword beneath her feet shone brightly, then she rushed into the fire array with a shoo. The golden long sword instantly divided into 10 flying swords and slashed towards the surrounding demonic beasts. The flying swords were like fish in water, and the fire array was just like the pond for raising fish. The two cooperated to harvest the lives of more than a dozen Tier 6 demonic beasts in only a short amount of time. As long as the flying sword targeted one, each sword would stab into their vital points. Lu Mu Yan's flying swords were as if it had their own self-consciousness, automatically attacking demonic beasts, while she, herself, was filled with fighting spirit. Her slender jade hands were enveloped in a layer of a light, glass-like red color, and she flew up, brandishing her fists, taking the initiative to greet each ferocious, robust demonic beast. My heavens! My eyes aren't blurry, are they? Someone from the dozen or so teams that followed exclaimed, "This woman is so fierce." Watching the demonic beasts fall to the ground one after another under her fist, many people wouldn't help feeling numb at their scalps. Was this still a woman? If someone became her husband in the future, would he be beaten to death with a fist if she became unhappy? Many people stared, dumbfounded, at the purple-clothed, otherworldly woman who looked like a deity of war. And yet, such a violent battle didn't seem at all vulgar or contemptuous, and instead, it was pleasing to watch her figure disappear and appear ceaselessly. I finally know why Luo Li fell in love with this small kingdom girl. She really was charming. A strong and sturdy man behind Mo Ling swallowed. What a hot beauty. I wonder who's lucky enough to bear her. A thin-looking man beside him shuddered. I feel more sympathetic to Luo Li now. The beauty is fierce. Many people on the field knew that Luo Li had a crush on a small kingdom woman, and now seeing Lu Mu Yan's valiant style, many people cast sympathetic gazes to him. Luo Li, is that woman in the array really Lu Mu Yan? Si Nen rubbed his eyes, afraid that his vision was blurry. Luo Li looked as if he regarded it as his honor. Naturally, she's Lu Mu Yan. If you like those delicate women, then you can choose not to look. I've seen too many delicate women that I already don't feel anything anymore. Seems like a valiant and violent beauty like Lu Mu Yan has more taste. I like it. Si Nan's eyes revealed some fiery desire. Only conquering such a hot and violent beauty was interesting and challenging. Seeing Xinan look at Lu Mu Yen with incomparably fiery eyes, Luo Li's face darkened instantly. He said grimly, "You'd better restrain yourself from your little ideas. She's not interested in a gaudy pretty face like you at all." "How do you know she's not interested? You aren't able to eat the meat yourself and you want us to be vegetarians as well one?" Xinan pursed his lips. "Fair competition." "Fair competition? You damned shameless bastard, get lost." Luo Li pushed Xinan away with a dark face, snorted coldly and jumped into the fire array, beginning to kill demonic beasts. He couldn't give the shameless Xinan a chance to approach Lu Mu Yen. Xinan raised an eyebrow. "He's a bit too jealous. But naturally I won't give up something I'm interested in so easily." There was a bewitching smile on his handsome face. He was still rather confident in his own face. Seeing that Luo Yi had also joined the killing in the fire array, and the two transformation stage demon cultivators in the distance didn't act, he also jumped into the fire array without hesitation. Whoever didn't try to earn these points were fools. There were many people who thought like Xinan. Having such a fire array was truly a good opportunity to earn points. No wonder Luo Yi and the others dared to hunt at night. So it turned out that there was the fire array arranged by Lu Mu Yen. "Young lord, should we go up?" The team members behind Mo Ling were eager to act. Mo Ling narrowed his eyes and nodded. "Let's go." The beast tide was still gathering, and with only Luo Yi and the others, they might not be able to kill them all. Since they chanced upon it, then it wasn't a big issue if they went up to have a share of porridge. He would just give some compensation to that woman named Lu Mu Yen in the future. Her talent and attainments in the path of the array shocked him very much, and he also had the heart to befriend her. Obtaining a nod from Mo Ling, the several people quickly rushed into the fire array to kill the demonic beasts. Seeing that Lu Mu Yan's combat power was so powerful, Mu Tong's face was grim, and she even trembled slightly. This woman actually had such profound knowledge in arrays. How was that possible? In addition to awe, Ji Yes' gaze towards Lu Mu Yen was also mixed with some complexity. To be able to use an array of such level, the background of this woman definitely wasn't simple, or there was someone behind her. "Crown Prince, let's go too." Seeing that Mo Ling's people had already jumped into the fire array, the team members behind Jiyu couldn't hold back any longer. Jiyu closed his eyes, then opened them and waved his hands. "Go." Seeing that Jiyu and the others also joined the battle circle in the fire array, Mu Tong stomped her foot and followed. More than a dozen other groups of people also jumped into the fire array to earn points. What made them delighted was that when they entered the fire array, they discovered that those demonic beasts were obviously suppressed by the heat and energy of the fire array. The actual combat power they could exert was significantly reduced. No wonder Luo Li and the others were able to kill so heartily. Lu Mu Yen pondered while sieging and killing. When she saw Mu Tong's group of people killing happily in her array, she narrowed her eyes dangerously and her lips revealed a ridicule. With a thought, the jade stones buried in the ground immediately moved positions and the firewall near Mu Tong and the others instantly extinguished. The trapped demonic beasts were confused for a moment, then roared excitedly and rushed towards Mu Tong's group of people. The people were just killing heartily, feeling refreshed. The combat power of the Tier 6 demonic beasts suppressed by the fire array was actually only equivalent to peak phase Tier 5. But then the heat around them suddenly disappeared, and the surrounding demonic beasts rioted instantly, almost causing them serious injury. Ji Yes' combat power was the strongest, so he rather easily avoided the crazy riot of demonic beasts, unlike others who were more or less injured. He looked grimly at Lu Mu Yen who was standing in the sky. This woman sure was a ruthless character. If she was an enemy, she would become a serious issue. He should find a chance to kill her in the competition space. However, even if the fire array was withdrawn, the beast tide was still divided into countless waves, and they could still kill many demonic beasts to earn points. So even if they were secretly annoyed by Lu Mu Yan's actions, they could only keep it in their hearts and continue to kill the demonic beasts on the periphery. "Lu Mu Yen, what do you mean by this?" Mu Tong was bitten on the arm by a demonic beast, and after killing the demonic beast, she glared at Lu Mu Yen not far away who watched the play with folded arms. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and sneered, precisely what you saw. You want to kill us? Mu Tong's eyes rolled in thought, then provoked. Lu Muyen stretched out a finger and shook it, saying casually, I'm not interested in their deaths. If they die in the beast tide, then it would be all your fault. What do you mean? Mu Tong looked at her resentfully. What did she mean by it would be her fault? Because you're hostile to me and want to kill me whenever, wherever, and we don't like each other, so I naturally won't let you all use the array. Even if they want to blame, they should blame you for not being able to recognize your own situation and status. Lu Muyen smiled charmingly. Sooner or later, your group will be harmed by your arrogant and domineering temper, so what does it have to do with me? Don't forget, from the very beginning to the end, you provoked me first. And I just happen to have this one virtue. Her eyes revealed a sharpness. If one does not offend me, I won't offend them. If one offended me, I'll send them to hell to drink tea with King Yama. Hearing her words, many people shuddered. It truly was, as the saying, servants and women were difficult to raise too. No one doubted what she said. Even if she smiled so gorgeously and movingly, with unparalleled beauty, but no one could ignore the coldness in her eyes. You little bitch. Mu Tong couldn't resist cursing. Pa! But her voice only just fell when an invisible fiery red slap landed on her face, its crispness resounding. She held her cheek in disbelief. You dared to slap me? In my array, it is not up to you to be arrogant. Lu Muyen sneered. The slap just now was precisely a slap formed from her fire elemental energy condensation. Mu Tong was long used to being arrogant in the empire and in her clan. Aside from being slapped in the cheek by that bitch elder sister, Lu Muyen was the second person in her entire life to touch her. She erupted, her current anger also fueled with her previous hatred, and said with a grim and ruthless expression, I'm going to kill you. Elemental energy channeled violently into her long sword, and her middle phase sword monarch cultivation base was in full momentum as she slashed at Lu Muyen with all her strength. The cyan sword aura swept out like a hurricane, carrying with it a strong wind elemental power. Lu Muyen let out a languid laugh, tapped her finger and drew a Taoist seal in the air. Bang! Then a huge wall of fire surged and instantly engulfed the imposing wind elemental energy hurricane. Mu Tong paled in shock. How could this be possible? Her full blow was resolved by that woman just like that? And that wall of fire didn't disappear. It rolled over Mu Tong's head with lightning speed, attempting to engulf her together. Mu Tong, in her array, she is the controller, don't continue to act and humiliate yourself. Jiyu jumped in front of Mu Tong and swung a golden sword light out. The wall of fire that erupted rapidly was split in half and was completely wiped out in front of Mu Tong. No matter what, Mu Tong was his betrothed. Her arrogant and domineering personality was also once his favorite. They already had the experience between husband and wife 3, plus Mu Tong's status in the Mu clan, so he naturally couldn't watch her die. Lu Muyen, do you want to completely forge a feud between us? Lu Muyen saw the hidden grim killing intent in Ji Ye's eyes. Her fingers wound around a strand of hair, playing about, as her red lips parted lightly. Are you saying we haven't completely forged a feud already? One basically calling Luo Li out on his jealously. An alternate version of saying grapes are sour just because you can't eat them. 2. An expression that is used to say that they are difficult people to raise. Usually used discriminatorily towards women, but such sayings are generally used as jokes these days. Don't recommend using it in real life though. Hahaha. 3. They've slept with each other already, something that usually only happens when you're married in traditional times. Chapter 229. Follow me back to be the mistress of my fort? Are you saying we haven't completely forged a feud already? Lu Muyen's voice was serene and slow, flowing like spring water, carrying an arrogance and domineering in her nice voice. Jiyu let out a chuckle and said with hostility, Good. You really are good. A woman from a small and remote kingdom in the eastern region dared to be this arrogant in front of him. He looked up at Lu Mu Yen with eyes filled with grimness and ruthlessness. Do you think that with this array alone, you can kill us? You can try. Lu Mu Yen looked at him carefreely while playing with her strand of hair, as if she didn't care for Ji-yu and the others at all. You truly are very conceited. Ji-yu beckoned with a wave of his hand, and 2 dark golden scimitars appeared in both hands. Luo Li killed the last demonic beast within his 4 walls, and a layer of coldness rose on his eyes. Ji-yu, you dare to try to touch her? Si-nan said slovenly, Ji-yu, Lu Mu Yen has now been included within the protection scope of this master. If you want to touch her, don't regret it. Although Helian Lai liked to play safe and protect himself, but Lu Mu Yen had already become an ally, so he naturally wouldn't sit idly by. Lu Mu Yen is already allied with us. If you want to touch her, you have to pass us first. Luo Yi didn't say a word, but he had already shown his attitude when he landed in front of Lu Mu Yen with a flash. Although Yun Zmo and the others weren't as strong as them, but they were all ready to fight at any time, advancing or retreating together with Lu Mu Yen. Ji's face was terrifyingly grim. He didn't expect Lu Mu Yen, this woman, to have such power to rally supporters in only a few days. Remembering the array she was using now, an understanding flashed across his eyes. These people were all sounding great by saying it was because of the alliance, but they probably couldn't part with Lu Mu Yan's array to trap demonic beasts if she died. Let's go. Ji-yu had deep scheming and wasn't an impulsive person. With these people working together, they had practically no chance of winning. The humiliation he received from these people today, he would definitely repay it many-fold another day. Mu Tong wanted to speak, but was stopped by his cold look. If it wasn't for this woman, he wouldn't be so humiliated either. It seemed that the position of crown princess wasn't suitable for her. The others also had killing intent towards Lu Mu Yen, but was also secretly annoyed by Mu Tong. Usually, it was nothing to be arrogant in the empire, but she still didn't restrain herself after coming into the competition space. Whenever she saw a sword master who wasn't from a superpower kingdom, she just wanted to step on them a bit. Now, not to mention that she had kicked on an iron plate, but she also implicated them to be unable to use Lu Mu Yan's array to earn points like the others. Although unwilling, but they had no other choice. Lu Mu Yen was guarded by Luo Yi and Si-nan. They weren't their opponents at all. If they remained, they would only lose more face. Ji-yu and the others didn't remain any longer. They turned and returned from the direction they came, with killing intent in their eyes for their humiliation. Lu Mu Yen released the strand of hair she was playing with, her eyes as deep as the sea. This Ji-yu is very flexible. He will be a tough enemy in the future. Lu Mu Yen said. Mo Yan's cold black eyes were filled with killing intent. Just kill him before the end of the competition. Well, do it secretly. Lu Mu Yen nodded, the killing intent in her heart spreading. If one forged a feud against elite pupils of superpower kingdoms, and if they couldn't kill them within the competition space, then after going out, Yanzhou Kingdom would definitely suffer revenge from Ji-yu and Mu Tong. Of course, she wouldn't be stupid enough to kill those people in public. She would just wait until there was a chance to assassinate them, so that the Imperial family surnamed Ji couldn't even find a reason to suppress Yanzhou Kingdom. The teams below, listen up. I not only need to use magic tools to arrange the array, but I also need to consume elemental energy and pills. If you want to use my fire array to kill demonic beasts and earn points, I will not chase you away. Lu Mu Yan's face was indifferent, and her manner was cold, but you must hand over 2/3 of the demonic beast's crystal cores you obtained from killing the demonic beasts as cost for renting the array. If you don't want to hand over your crystal cores, then leave immediately. If you attempt to get things for free, then Si-nan's sword won't leave you alive. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Si-nan twitched the corners of his lips. What did she mean that his sword wouldn't leave them alive? Why didn't she involve Luo Li or Helian Lai? He sure discovered something. This woman didn't only just sought revenge for a single angry look, she was also petty. Didn't he just say a few words to test her that day? Did she have to remember it and take revenge on him? But he didn't say anything against her. He was deeply interested in her right now, so it was fine to be used as a sword. Luo Li fixedly stared at the arrogant and domineering Lu Muyen, his eyes even more fiery with desire. He just liked her arrogance and domineering. Mo Ling wanted to make it up to her a little to begin with. Upon hearing her say that, he felt that it was how it should be. Sure. With Mo Ling taking the lead, people from other large or medium, small kingdoms also didn't dare to object. Si Nan, that capricious abnormal monster, wasn't someone they could afford to offend. Right now, points were the most important. Although 2/3 of the demonic beast's crystal cores did make their heart hurt, but they didn't absolutely need it. We agree. Not one group left. They even wanted to just follow Lu Muyen and her group like this. The efficacy of killing beasts in beast tides was much faster than during the daytime. Then continue. Lu Muyen smiled with satisfaction. Her smile was soul-stirring, but it made many people's eyelids twitch. This woman sure changed her face quickly. Because this wave of demonic beasts was composed of Tier 6 demonic beasts, even with the support of Lu Muyen's array, it was still a bit time-consuming and laborious. When there was still only 1/3 of the demonic beasts left, the 2 transformation stage demon cultivators in the air finally acted. Interesting. I've long heard that there was a human who used arrays to specifically find the beast tides gathered by our race to kill. Seeing it today truly is extraordinary. A man with one antenna on his head appeared above the fire array, staring at Lu Muyen with cold eyes. Another burly, green-haired man licked the corner of his lips and let out a laugh. This is the first time I've seen a human sword master with a physique comparable to that of a demonic beast. I sure want to experience it a bit today. The 2 stared at their target, Lu Muyen. After watching the battle for so long, they discovered that this woman was definitely a big threat if not removed. In addition, the close-quarters combat power she displayed also made the 2 demon cultivators a little interested, and their fighting spirit was strong. Your opponent is me. Luo Yi took a step forward, holding a silver longsword in his hand. The shadow of his tall and straight figure stretched long under the moonlight. Si Nan curled his lips into a smile and flew up, landing beside Lu Muyen. But just as he wanted to show off a little, she spoke first. Sure. I would also like to experience the stone skin skill of a mountain-moving beast. The fighting intent in Lu Muyen's eyes was no weaker than the 2 demonic beasts opposite. She just happened to want to borrow the suppressing effect of high-level opponents to break through the bottleneck between Sword King and Sword Monarch, so she would be happy to accompany this opportunity that came to her door. Si Nan and the others were stunned for a bit. He turned his head to look at her with a complicated expression and said, "Don't try to show off your ability, leave it to me." Lu Muyen saw that the look of concern in his eyes didn't seem to be fake, and he was also acting rather responsible to want to share her burden, so the last bit of dislike towards him also disappeared in her heart. No need. I can handle it. If I lose, then you can go up. Lu Muyen's stunning face bloomed into a very confident smile, which made Si Nan's heart feel as if it had been hit by something. Ha, what a savage woman. I just like it so spicy, so flavorful. The burly man laughed a few times. If you lose, how about you follow me back to be the mistress of my fort? Hearing the demon cultivator's words, Luo Li and Si Nan's face instantly darkened. In front of the crystal wall in the central castle, there still sat the elders of the several major sects. Sitting in the innermost side, when the white-clothed beautiful man heard the burly man's words, a killing intent flashed across his eyes. Chapter 230. Do you dare to bet? If you lose, how about you follow me back to be the mistress of my fort? The words of the Tier 7 transformation stage demon cultivator resounded throughout the canyon, as if he were certain that Lu Muyen would be taken back by him. Lu Muyen's beautiful eyes narrowed slightly, and a devilishly charming smile rose on her lips. How about we make a bet? Although the burly man was a demon cultivator, but he also liked beautiful women, especially a violent and powerful human woman like Lu Muyen who itched his heart. He let out a laugh. What bet? If you beat me today, I'll obediently follow you back to be the mistress of your fort. But if you lost to me, you'll obediently be my elder brother's spirit pet. Lu Muyan's eyes flashed with a sharpness. Do you dare to bet? Be a spirit pet? The burly man's eyes flickered, then laughed a few times. Sure. Then let's bet. But just you wait to be the mistress of my fort. If he couldn't even deal with a human sword master at peak phase Sword King, then he really spent the thousands of years in this space in vain. Lu Muyan's initiative to make the bet greatly surprised everyone else. Lu Mu furrowed his brows in disapproval and attempted to stop them. Yenner, I don't need any spirit pet, don't joke around with your freedom. Lu Muyan cast a reassuring look at him. Elder brother, don't worry, I never do anything that I'm not certain of. Either way, I have to fight anyways, so might as well collect a spirit pet along the way. Lu Mubei's eyes were filled with helplessness, but he knew that whatever little sister decided, it wouldn't change, so he could only nod his head. However, he was already prepared to protect her and leave even at the cost of his life if little sister lost. Lu Muyan, have you gone crazy? Luo Li moved to Lu Muyan's side angrily and pulled her arm to prevent her from going forward. Lu Muyan chuckled and patted his shoulder. Little cat, don't worry, I won't lose. You, Luo Li looked at her firm and confident eyes, then turned his head angrily with a cold snort. However, he was extremely worried inwardly. Both Si Nan and Helian Lai felt that Lu Muyan was being careless and too arrogant this time, but it was too late to stop it now, so they could only attempt to remedy it later. Only Luo Ye's expression remained unchanged, as if he had full confidence in Lu Muyan. The little beauty sure talks big. Then let me see how you win now. The burly man stomped his foot and the entire canyon space trembled. In Lu Muyan's eyes, not only was there no fear, but instead, she had strong fighting intent. Sure. As soon as her word dropped, the burly man acted first, waving his huge fist, slamming it towards her with the sound of breaking air. A layer of a gentle, light red glow enveloped her hands. She tapped her toes lightly and greeted the fists of the burly man. Boom boom. After the fists of the one human one demon met, it made a few crisp sounds, and the ground below tore open a huge crack due to the impact of the fist storm. The burly man and Lu Muyan both used more than 5/10 of their strength, firstly, to test, and secondly they wanted to heavily injure the other with a single blow. Good. The fighting spirit of the burly man was ignited. He was truly surprised that this woman could take his fist. Lu Muyan's figure flashed about, then quickly punched one fist after the other, each punch carrying with it a scorching fire elemental energy. Boom boom. The most savage close-quarters combat was performed in midair with one human one demon constantly bombarding each other. The loud sounds undulated, and the ground cracked open numerous gashes. The man with one antenna on his head looked coldly at the two figures fighting, then leapt over, but was blocked by Luo Yi. Your opponent is me. The man with the antenna sneered. Since you took the initiative to come to my door, then I'll send you off first. Luo Yi held a silver longsword in his hand and instantly entered battle with the man with the antenna. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Sinan looked at Lu Muyan and the burly man in their physical fight, who were on par with each other, in amazement. It seemed that he still underestimated Lu Muyan. But her frenzied fighting really was so beautiful it stirred his soul. Luo Li, how about we compete to see who kills more demonic beasts? Since they were betting, Sinan was also itching. Luo Li retracted his worried gaze, raised an eyebrow and asked, What tray we betting on? If you lose, you're not allowed to stop me from approaching Lu Muyan in the future. Sinan said bluntly. If you lose, you're not allowed to have your little ideas about her again in the future. Luo Li said without hesitation. Sinan's androgynous handsome face beamed with a smile. All right. And so the two jumped into the fire array and frantically harvested the lives of the Tier 6 demonic beasts. Although Luo Li's cultivation base was advanced phase Sword Monarch, but he had his own strengths, so his power when battling was pretty similar to that of Sinan, who was at peak phase Sword Monarch. Above, in the air, Lu Muyan was punched on the shoulder by her opponent, shaking her so much so that a streak of blood dripped from her lips. The burly man wasn't too well either. After using his stone skin skill, he was still hit by the opponent's fists that had scorching hot flames, and many places on his body were in burning pain. His heart was also burnt by the force of the fire elemental energy. His eyes were filled with anger. This was the first time that someone had forced him into such a state. After mouthing a few sentences, his body suddenly grew bigger and a layer of gray quickly enveloped his entire body. Not long after, his entire being looked like a stone sculpture. A trace of brilliance quickly flashed across Lu Muyan's eyes. The mountain-moving beast had infinite strength, rough skin, thick flesh, and an innate stone skin skill, but they had a fatal weakness. The reason why she was so confident that she could win against the burly big man was because she knew the weakness of the mountain-moving beast after it petrified, but now wasn't the time to act on it. Take this. The burly man raised 2 giant petrified palms and slapped them towards Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan moved and used flash steps to dodge while wrapping the green fog within her around her hands together with fire elemental energy. Using ghostly movements, she punched the man's body one fist after another. Her green sea of fog not only nourished and promoted growth, but also had the effect of penetration and corrosion. But the burly man was a Tier 7 demonic beast after all. Even though he was suppressed right now, but he also resisted fiercely and took an opportunity to slap Lu Muyan again. The palms carried explosive demonic energy palm winds, and after landing, Lu Muyan felt as if her internal organs were all distorted. A mouthful of blood spurted out. When the mountain-moving beast was punched by her a few times, at the time, he only felt a little burnt and a little painful. However, after being forced to retreat a few steps, the skin on his entire body suddenly felt as if it were about to crack completely, and a kind of heart-wrenching pain attacked. The burly man raised his head and let out a shrill cry, making the sword masters fighting below unable to resist looking up at them. When the burly man's palm landed, Lu Muyan felt that the bottleneck that she was stuck at between Sword King and Sword Monarch was shattered inch by inch. Her dantian within began to operate and vigorously absorb the spiritual force of heaven and earth. Excellent hit! Lu Muyan laughed happily and pinched seals with her hands. In an instant, the wind and clouds of heaven and earth surged, and a hole was torn open in the dark night that looked as if it had no end in sight. Countless 7-colored spiritual clouds were born and landed above Lu Muyan's head. Spiritual energy lightning that contained boundless spiritual force descended one after another, striking Lu Muyan's body. Not only did her face not change, but instead, she wore a hearty smile. Her body was like a sponge, madly absorbing the spiritual force in the spiritual clouds while spiritual energy lightning bolts fell on her body, numbing it, shaping, and repairing the meridians of her entire body. What? She actually wants to use the battle to advance. And she also attracted spiritual clouds for body tempering. She's truly crazy. An elder of the 6 major sects in the central castle pointed at the crystal wall, faltering, completely dumbstruck. Chapter 231. Advance to Sword Monarch. Countless 7-colored spiritual clouds floated out from the slit torn open in the night, and the entire canyon was shrouded in 7-colored neon clouds, beautiful and splendid. Spiritual energy lightning struck Lu Muyan's body one after another. She quickly mobilized her dantian, and the sorcerer's skill roamed around her body, cooperating with her spiritual energy to temper her body again and again. Seeing this, the burly man was horrified. Disregarding the pain in his body, he wanted to turn away and leave, but a distant voice sounded in his sea of consciousness. Kill her, kill her. His eyes that were filled with horror was replaced by scarlet, and he condensed the demonic energy of his entire body into his 2 giant palms, then slammed them towards Lu Muyan. In actual fact, the most powerful aspect of a mountain-moving beast wasn't its attack, but its defense. The reason why Lu Muyan could hurt him was because her fire elemental energy carried a trace of purple-gold spirit flames. Otherwise, even if a strong sword sovereign powerhouse came, it would be very difficult to hurt him. Seeing the trace of scarlet streak across the burly man's jaded eyes and that he had raised his petrified palm to slap towards her, Lu Muyan narrowed her eyes. The opportunity had arrived. After the mountain-moving beast was petrified, he had a weakness where he would temporarily lose his reason, and there was an acupuncture point on his back that, when tapped, would paralyze him for a few breaths of time. What she wanted was precisely for him to go crazy. Lu Mu Yen, be careful. Seeing this, Luo Li flew up and wanted to help. It's fine. Lu Mu Yen waved her hand at Luo Li, stopping him from helping. Luo Li sighed and stepped back. This woman was simply too stubborn. Lu Mu Yen disappeared in a flash and the 7-colored clouds followed her figure, maneuvering around, as if an auspicious omen, shrouding her in a layer of 7-colored warm light. Rise! She shouted coldly, and the golden sword beneath her feet instantly transformed into 10 golden flying swords, all heading directly towards the petrified burly man. Once the mountain-moving beast was completely petrified, the flexibility of its body would be greatly reduced, and its defense would also become so tough it'd be a demonic beast race that could be ranked among the top 50. There were advantages and disadvantages. Ding dang! The 10 flying swords were instantly slapped away by the mountain-moving beast. Even if they all fell on him, it wouldn't hurt him at all and made clanging sounds on the outer layer of the stone surface. Facing an already petrified mountain-moving beast, Lu Mu Yen naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to fight flesh to flesh. Her body was indeed comparable to a Tier 6 demonic beast, but the petrified body of a mountain-moving beast was only even tougher than Bing Ji before his demonic energy was sealed and not inferior. If she forcibly tried to speak with her fists, then she would definitely receive internal injuries after being hit. Roar, roar! The crazy mountain-moving beast who had completely lost his senses couldn't hit Lu Mu Yen each time it attacked, so it grew even madder, roaring and beating his chest with his fists as if a maddened orangutan. Boom boom! He raised his large hands and directly slammed the ground, causing the earth to split open into numerous ravines. The remaining force of the fist wind swept up the stones on the ground and flew towards Lu Mu Yen, forming a powerful whirlwind, its power astonishingly terrifying. Si Nan and the others looked ahead in shock and almost couldn't resist acting. They were afraid that Lu Mu Yen wouldn't be able to take on that power. Even if they took it on, they would probably also be injured. At the same time, the people below turned their attention to the direction of Lu Mu Yen in the distance, while a small part of their attention was on killing demonic beasts. They all wanted to see how she would deal with it. A slight arc rose on Lu Mu Yan's lips. She closed her eyes, and the moment they opened, they were dyed with a layer of light, a look that revealed that she had succeeded in her calculations. With a thought, she set free her Bodhis limitations to absorb the spiritual force in the spiritual clouds. When her endurance instantly exceeded the load, she moved her hands gently in front of her and drew an 8 trigrams in front of her chest. Then she immediately took a deep breath, pushed her palms out, and the violent spiritual force in her body was instantly transformed into spiritual energy through her dantian, forming a black and white aura. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, an 8 trigrams formed from spiritual energy guarded before Lu Mu Yen, and the violent whirlwind perfectly landed on the 8 trigrams. The 2 spiritual energies of 1 black, 1 white whirled slowly, and the moment the whirlwind landed on the 8 trigrams, it was blocked by a gentle power within it. The energy in the 8 trigrams fluctuated slowly, but each time it circulated, the violent whirlwind would weaken a bit. Boom boom! The more than a dozen 7-colored spiritual clouds gradually converged into a huge 7-colored spiritual cloud, and the spiritual energy lightning bolts that fell on Lu Mu Yan's body was even thicker. The lightning condensed from spiritual energy was different to normal thunder and lightning. It would only appear under certain circumstances, and it didn't have the lethality of thunder and lightning. Of course, when the lightning condensed by spiritual force struck Lu Mu Yen, it would be used to temper her body through her sorcerer skill, so she not only wasn't harmed by it, but she also obtained many benefits. But if a sword master who didn't have such a body-refining method dared to temper their body with the help of the lightning from spiritual clouds, if they didn't have any special means to absorb it, then their meridians would be blocked by a large amount of spiritual force in the future, and their cultivation would also be terminated. That's why her behavior was so shocking. Without making a loud noise, The violent whirlwind the mountain-moving beast brought was blocked bit by the 8 trigrams formed through borrowing the spiritual clouds and spiritual cloud lightning. Seeing this, the mountain-moving beast rushed over, raised his huge palms, and began to slap the 8 trigrams in an attempt to destroy it. Clang! Lu Mu Yen heard a sound from her spiritual platform 1, and the bottleneck she was stuck at between Sword King and Sword Monarch was instantly shattered by the violent spiritual force in her body. Her body was like a sponge right now, vigorously absorbing the spiritual force in the spiritual cloud. The spiritual cloud gradually shrank, and the spiritual energy lighting weakened, then finally disappeared. When the 7-colored spiritual cloud shrunk, faded, then finally dissipated, Lu Mu Yan's cultivation base broke straight to the peak of initial phase Sword Monarch. After she advanced, she felt that her entire body was filled with strength. The effect of the tempering of spiritual energy lightning sure was good. Plus, she had been drinking bloodsack wine for a long time, so her sorcerer skill actually automatically broke through from level 2 to initial stage level 3. Right now, because of the dissipation of the spiritual cloud, the power of the 8 trigrams was also weakened, and was finally slapped away by the mountain-moving beast. His eyes were crimson, and he rushed towards Lu Mu Yen with his huge body. A faint smile rose on Lu Mu Yan's lips, and she counted softly, 3, 2, 1. Everyone present was curious as to why she was counting, but when her voice landed on 1, the incomparably ferocious mountain-moving beast actually stopped in place, as if dazed, then instantly fell to the ground with a bang. Pang! His huge body fell to the ground involuntarily, and the earth trembled a bit, dust floating everywhere. Lu Mu Yen tapped her toes and moved to the body of the mountain-moving beast in only a few steps using her flash steps, dust covering her and the demonic beast's body. As soon as she rushed over, landing on the mountain-moving beast, she immediately mouthed a difficult incantation, then slapped her palm heavily, and the Taoist seals condensed from spiritual energy in her palm penetrated one after another into the mountain-moving beast. The spiritual energy Taoist seals that penetrated the mountain-moving beast made the crimson of his eyes fade, and he slowly regained his clarity. After he completely regained consciousness, the ancient contract skill was also deeply wound around the miniature version of the mountain-moving beast in his Yaofu. When the dust and mist dissipated, everyone watched Lu Mu Yen jump off the body of the mountain-moving beast. Then she looked at the mountain-moving beast with indifferent eyes and said, "You lost." One author never explained what it is, and it's the first time it's mentioned, but I'm pretty sure it might literally be a spiritual platform that's there, blocking her advancement to Sword Monarch, like a physical layer. Chapter 232. Talent is too poor that I'm not interested, you lost. Lu Mu Yan's voice wasn't too loud, but everyone present heard it. The petrified gray energy on the mountain-moving beast faded away, and he found that his demon soul in his Yaofu was already wound with a contract skill. His eyes were a little dazed. He was actually imprinted with a contract seal during a battle where he used petrification. How was that possible? How did you do it? He returned to the appearance of a burly man, stood up and patted the dust on his body, looking at the stunning woman in front of him with a complicated gaze. Lu Mu Yen didn't say it aloud and instead telepathically said, "After you become petrified, you'll go berserk and your whole body will become as strong as black iron, but you have a fatal weakness. After being stabbed in the acupoint on your back, you'll be unconscious for a while." The mountain-moving beast was shocked. You actually know this secret." The secret of the fatal weakness of the mountain-moving beast was something that even other demonic beast races that the mountain-pushing beasts were on very friendly terms with didn't know. He really didn't expect this human woman to know such a secret. "Don't worry, I won't spread it," Lu Mu Yen said with a smile, seeing the fear in his eyes. The hovering heart of the mountain-moving beast relaxed a little. If this woman leaked their secret, the entire mountain-moving beast race might face the disaster of extinction. "You kept hitting me with your fist just now, but you didn't get close to my back. How did you do it?" This was also something the mountain-moving beast didn't understand. Although he temporarily lost his reason when he was petrified, but he still remembered what happened prior to regaining his senses. Lu Mu Yen indeed didn't come close to contact with his back. When I attacked you with the flying swords, I secretly released a few flying needles. When you destroyed the 8 trigrams, I activated the golden needles pierced on your body. Plus, I smeared the human-eating blood thorn vine king's vine thorn paralysis poison on the golden needles, so before you could even attack me, you collapsed. She actually originally made 2 sets of golden needles. One set was made from Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal, used to save people, and the other set was made from Heavenly Frost Golden Essence, used to kill people. The Heavenly Frost Golden Essence could be considered a divine rank spiritual item together with the soul-nourishing wood and 10 or so other spiritual items, so it was naturally extraordinary and was incomparable, even compared to the Heavenly Frost Golden Crystal. Therefore, the refined golden needles could easily penetrate into back of a petrified mountain-moving beast. Of course, separately refining it was also to avoid being exposed. If high-level cultivators knew that she had a set of poisonous needles refined from Heavenly Frost Golden Essence, they would definitely be tempted to kill and steal her treasure. The mountain-moving beast was now already imprinted with a contract seal by her and couldn't betray her at all. Otherwise he would be purged by the restrictions of the laws of heaven and earth. This was why she told him the truth through telepathy. Lu Mu Yen saw everyone looking at them suspiciously, then said slowly, "If you agree to bet, you must accept to lose. Will you accept the contract?" The mountain-moving beast was very suffocated inwardly. You already imprinted a contract seal on Laozi's one demon soul, and you still ask will you accept the contract? "I'll accept the contract." His voice was muddled, and it was obvious that he wasn't happy. Lu Mu Yen didn't care whether he was happy or not, right? He tapped him on the head with her long sword. "From now on, you will obediently be my elder brother's spirit pet, otherwise be careful that I won't be polite to you. If you dare go against my elder brother's wishes, I'll let him massage your back a few times every day." Then her threatening voice sounded in the mountain-moving beast's sea of consciousness. The mountain-moving beast was originally resistant, but that completely collapsed instantly. He must have 8 lifetimes of rotten luck to have met this sort of woman too. If he let her elder brother stab him in the back every day, then without even passing the day, he definitely would be completely paralyzed. Just thinking of such a scene made him unable to resist shuddering. "Who's your elder brother?" Although he was a little afraid of Lu Mu Yen, but if the owner she found for him was weak and stupid, then as a high-level demonic beast, he would rather die than contract him in order to maintain his dignity. Lu Mu Yen could guess what he was thinking. She walked towards Lu Mu Bai, hugged his arm, then walked back in front of the mountain-moving beast. "He's my elder brother." Lu Mu Bai didn't expect that little sister could really subdue this Tier 7 demonic beast. While he was shocked inwardly, he was also helpless at the same time, with a doting look in his eyes. "Yenner, his defense is very strong, you can contract him yourself. If we meet others, then elder brother will contract then. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site." Thanks little sister had offended a lot of people recently, so if she contracted this Tier 7 spirit pet, then her strength would be greatly increased, and it would be much safer for her. "Elder brother, I don't contract just any demonic beast. His talent is too poor that I'm not interested. You also make do for now, I'll change it for you when we find a better one." Lu Mu Yen glanced at the mountain-moving beast with unsatisfaction. The mountain-moving beast's nose almost didn't become crooked from anger. What did she mean that she wasn't interested in his talent? It only took him 1,000 years to advance to Tier 7. Such talent was already considered a genius among the mountain-moving beasts, all right? The most irritating thing was that she even said that when she found a better demonic beast, she'd change him for that. Damned, was he really that bad? Not only the mountain-moving beast, but the other people present also rolled their eyes when they heard Lu Mu Yan's words. Did she need to be this arrogant? She was even unsatisfied with a Tier 7 defense-type demonic beast that was considered semi-invincible. Even if a sword sovereign came, they would probably be tempted by this kind of spirit pet. Just how high were her standards? Truly, comparing oneself to another could definitely infuriate oneself to death. In fact, Lu Mu Yen wasn't joking nor trying to comfort Lu Mu Bai when she said this. She had seen the talent of this mountain-moving beast when she contracted him. At most, he could only reach tier 10, and that was under the condition that he had heaven-defying luck and unlimited resources. The spirit pets she had contracted so far were far more awesome one after the other. Mo Yen had a pure king-class bloodline, an existence that was comparable to a true dragon and heavenly phoenix, with a mysterious background. Bingji was the descendant of a Saiyan Luan divine beast, and could also be regarded as a divine beast himself. Miao Miao had the pure bloodline of a golden dragon divine beast within her, and after she shed her jiao and transformed into a dragon, she would inevitably become a golden dragon race, which was a higher-level existence than that of even a Saiyan Luan demonic beast, and although the human-eating blood Thorn Vine King's bloodline wasn't as good as the other spirit pets, but he had superior, heaven-defying talent, and was a demonic plant that was hard to meet even in tens of thousands of years, even rarer than a divine beast. With the comparison of these 4 demonic beasts, her standards for contracting spirit pets were naturally much higher. His defense is very strong. He can protect you a bit if you take him in. Lu Mu Bai continued to push. He thought that what Lu Mu Yen said just now was to comfort him. His defense is very powerful, but wasn't he still subdued by me? Lu Mu Yen directly grabbed Lu Mu Bei's hand, pierced it with a needle, and a drop of blood essence fell on the forehead of the mountain-moving beast. Elder brother, if you don't contract him, he'll be angry. Lu Mu Bai sighed and looked at little sister in amusement, with warmth spreading in his heart. All right, I'll contract. This was a representation of little sister's feelings. Since she insisted, then he wouldn't refuse again. With her talent and strength, she could indeed have better choices. Lu Mu Bei's blood essence entered the forehead of the mountain-moving beast. Lu Mu Yen stretched out her hand and formed a few contract Taoist seals, merging the blood essence with the contract seal in the mountain-moving beast's demon soul. Go contract. Lu Mu Bai closed his eyes, and a trace of mental energy merged with the demon soul in the yaofu of the mountain-pushing beast to contract. Instantly, a soft, jade-colored light enveloped Lu Mu Bai and the mountain-moving beast, then gradually dissipated after a while. Owner! The mountain-moving beast respectfully called out to Lu Mu Bai. Although Lu Mu Yan's elder brother wasn't as abnormally monstrous as her, but after the contract, he found that this owner's talent was also very strong, with a lot of room for development, so his resistance to the contract was also much less. Lu Mu Bai and the mountain-moving beast now had a mental connection, and a gentle smile appeared on his elegant and handsome face. From now on, we'll be companions. With Lu Mu Yan's help, Lu Mu Bai really contracted this Tier 7 transformation stage demonic beast, which instantly dumbfounded everyone present, including the elders of the 6 major sects who were watching the battle within the central castle. One reminder, lousy is an arrogant way to address oneself, usually used by men. 2. A popular colloquial saying that expresses just how unlucky one is. Chapter 233. The Attention of the 6 Major Sects, the Central Castle of the Competition Space. The elders of the 6 major sects could no longer describe their feelings with words at this time. That sword master named Lu Mu Yen from a small kingdom completely impressed them. The gaze of the elder of the Spirit Tamers sect towards Lu Mu Yen was as gentle as it could get, with also a sharp light of desire. With such talent as a beast tamer, if she doesn't come to our Spirit Tamers sect, then it'd be a waste. The cyan-clothed elderly man of the Spirit Tamers sect said forcefully with a smile. The strong and sturdy elderly man snorted coldly. I'd say her best talent is in arrays, don't even think about contending for her with his old man. Such a good seedling, our 8 Extremes sect would never let go this time. In the last 2 sessions of the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony, the 8 Extremes sect had been robbed of many good seedlings by the other 5 sects, so this time, he definitely wouldn't compromise and let go of Lu Mu Yen. The tall and thin man from the Sword sect sneered after hearing his words. Do we even need the 8 Extremes sect to let go? If you can really persuade Lu Mu Yen to go to your 8 Extremes sect, then very well, our Sword sect would not compete with you, big deal. Among the 6 major sects, the 8 Extremes sect was last in every sect competition. The top 10 sword masters participating in the tournament for hegemony had the right to choose their own sect, and there had already been 2 consecutive sessions where no one had chosen the 8 extreme sect. The remaining 90 people were divided equally into each sect, and not many of the young sword masters who were assigned to the 8 extremes sect were sincerely willing. This rogue old man actually wanted to take this year's dark horse back to the 8 extreme sect. He truly was indulging in the wildest fantasy. They believed that with Lu Muyan's intelligence and cleverness, she definitely wouldn't choose the 8 extremes sect that was at the bottom of the 6 major sects, so they didn't take it to heart at all. "This is what you said, Humph." The strong and sturdy elderly man snorted coldly. He was well aware of the thoughts of the other sect elders, but it was rare to encounter such a good seedling who had such talent for the path of the arrays, so no matter what conditions he had to make, he would not give it up. "All right now. If she can advance into the top 100 of the tournament, then we'll rely on our own abilities to try to contend for her." The wise old man from the heavenly secret palace said slowly. This dark horse, the secret heavenly palace, would take it. The elders of the other sects also had their own plans in mind. Either way, aside from those who were already predetermined in the top 10 of each tournament, whenever they encountered a dark horse, each sect could offer conditions to tempt them. The competition amongst the sects had long become a sort of intangible common practice. The elders of the various sects had different expressions, while a very small arc rose on the lips of the otherworldly, handsome, white-clothed man sitting at the very back. "Woman, I believe we'll meet again very soon." In the canyon, Luo Li and the others looked at Lu Mu Yen in disbelief. She was actually also a high-level spirit beast master? Wasn't this too exaggerated? She could refine pills, could brew spiritual wine, knew the path of the arrays, and now she could even contract spirit pets. Just what did she not know how to do? "What are you looking at me for? Hurry up and kill the demonic beast so that we can return to the city." Lu Mu Yen furrowed her brows when she saw that everyone was staring at her. The others lowered their heads speechlessly and began to kill the demonic beasts in front of them. However, they noted Lu Mu Yen down, thinking that it would be best to befriend her in the future. "Lu Mu Yen, do you know how to refine tools?" Luo Li approached her and asked. Lu Mu Yen said with amusement, "I haven't refined before." Only after hearing her say this did they find a little balance in their hearts. Otherwise, with a woman with such heaven-defying talent, how could these men, who claimed to be geniuses, continue to live? The other Tier 7 demon cultivator with an antenna was forced by Luo Yi to transform into his original form and retreat in a sorry state. But he also gave a cold look towards Lu Mu Yen before escaping. After all the demonic beasts in the fire array were killed, Lu Mu Yen and the others' points soared rapidly. Her current total points ranking had already advanced to 23rd place. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, let's go back to the city first. With a thought, the jade magic tools buried in the ground to trigger the fire array were automatically shattered into powder. She had just advanced to Sword Monarch with the help of the battle with the Tier 7 demonic beast and the spiritual clouds, so now she needed to return to the city to stabilize her cultivation base. Let's go. Luo Yi also knew that she wanted to go back to the city to stabilize her cultivation base, so he was very cooperative. Lu Mu Yen only took 2 steps before she suddenly turned around and said to Sinan, "By the way, they used my fire array just now and need to hand over 2/3 of the demonic beast's crystal cores, so the task of collecting crystal cores is left to you." The corner of Sinan's lips twitched. "Sure, you all leave first, I'll see you when I return to the city." He just tied with Luo Li in the competition to kill the most demonic beasts, and his interest in Lu Mu Yen was currently very strong, so he naturally wouldn't give up his attention for her. Mo Ling looked calmly at Lu Mu Yen, Luo Yi, and the others leaving, exuding a cool pride and aloofness. "Mo Ling, how many demonic beasts did you kill? Hand over the demonic beast's crystal cores." Sinan walked up to Mo Ling's group and said with a slovenly smile. Mo Ling didn't quite like the androgynous, capricious Sinan, so he didn't want to be too entangled with him. He took out the demonic beast's crystal cores he had long prepared and tossed it to him. "All in here." After he finished speaking, he took the few elite pupils under him and followed in the footsteps of Lu Mu Yen and the others. Sinan pursed his lips. How very boring. After returning to the city, Lu Mu Yen arranged an array in her room and began to meditate to consolidate her cultivation base. And the news that she could use a fire array to kill medium and small-sized beast tides by isolating and separating them into waves was also spread by scheming people, including the matter of being able to contract Tier 7 spirit pets. However, although there were many people who believed in the situation about the fire array, but was it even possible for a small kingdom sword master to actually be able to contract a demonic beast 2 stages higher than herself? Either way, they wouldn't believe it. When Lu Mu Yen woke up, she was filled with spiritual energy, and when she flipped her hand over, a cluster of pure crimson flames leapt about her palm. Your fire elemental energy has become much purer again. Mo Yen felt the temperature in the room suddenly rise and raised his head, saying lightly. Lu Mu Yan's lips curled into a smile. Indeed. She got up and poked Mo Yan's body, blinking as she said, "Didn't you want to teach me your secret skill?" Mo Yen looked at her without a good attitude, while he had a faint smile in his eyes. Then let's start learning now. So Lu Mu Yen didn't leave her room, and began to cultivate the secret skill with Mo Yen. One day and one night passed. Although Luo Li and the others didn't know when she would come out, but they didn't disturb her. They rested in their rooms during the day and didn't even go out hunting at night. When a ray of morning light broke through the darkness and illuminated the earth, Lu Mu Yen opened the door and left her room. After she existed, the members of the 4 groups gathered together to have a discussion. We'll leave during the day and directly go hunting at night. Lu Mu Yen suggested when she saw that the others were filled with energy, having not gone hunting during the time she cultivated. Sure. Everyone was very satisfied with her suggestion. Even if they didn't compete with other teams for demonic beasts during the day, they could still prepare for beast tides. The 4 teams left the city early in the morning and headed towards the distant mountains to hunt. Along the way, it was as if the demonic beasts had disappeared completely, not even seeing a single fur. Everyone knew that this was because they were hunted and killed by the teams of other kingdoms. Right when the 4 teams were discussing to leave and rest at the foot of a mountain nearby to wait for nightfall, there was a sudden sound of battling from the rear. Lu Mu Yan's expression changed, and although she had already walked for a while, she immediately turned around and flew in the direction of the fight. Chapter 234. Retaliate. Verbally hearing the battling sounds at their rear, Lu Mu Yen turned around and flew towards it. Why did she turn back? Helian Lai asked in confusion as he looked at Lu Mu Yan's back that disappeared from sight. Luo Li shook his head. Don't know. Lu Mu Bai and the others exchanged a look, then turned around and followed without hesitation. Let's go take a look too. Luo Yi furrowed his brows slightly. He felt that Lu Mu Yan's emotions changed drastically just now. Luo Li and Sinan couldn't wait any longer to begin with and flew straight into the woods. Lu Mu Yen didn't take it to heart when she heard the sound of fighting just now. After all, there were often scenes of fighting happening over the competition for demonic beasts. But after walking for a while, she suddenly felt Yi Qing Han's elemental energy fluctuation, so she couldn't resist any longer and headed back. After quickly rushing into an open area, she jumped onto a big tree and looked down. All she saw was Ling Fei Yang's lips smeared with a streak of undried blood, face pale, and he stood towards the back, guarding a beautiful, white-clothed woman. Mu Yi and Shifeng's aura was weak, and one could tell they were seriously injured with one look. There were 2 men beside them who were seriously injured and in a coma. Yi Qing Han, dressed in dark-patterned black clothes, held a long sword tightly, and his clothes were ripped in many places. He stood in front of the injured people and stared at the 7 people in front of him with a cold expression. The people in front of him were none other than Mu Tong and Ji Yu, whom Lu Mu Yen knew. You guys really overrate your own abilities, daring to resist us with such little strength. Mu Tong looked at the several people arrogantly and pursed her lips. The white-clothed woman whom Ling Fei Yang was supporting had a cold look, gasping for breath, saying, Mu Tong, you let them go and he'll let you do to me as you please. Mu Tong sneered, "My good elder sister, your ability to seduce men sure isn't weak. Just how long has it been, and you've already seduced these people to protect you with their lives. But since you're going to die, then it's natural for me as your younger sister to fulfill you a bit. It's better to send all these adulterers to hell to accompany you." Seeing Mu Ning's face grow more and more ugly, a joyous mockery rose in her heart. "Mu Tong, do not speak such nonsense." Mu Ning spurted out a mouthful of blood and her face grew even whiter with anger. The joy in Mu Tong's eyes wasn't concealed. "Elder sister, you've done it, as simple as that, why don't you dare to admit it?" Lu Mu Yen furrowed her brows. The white-clothed woman seemed to have an extremely cold and calm temperament, and if she fought verbally, she simply wouldn't be Mu Tong's opponent. "Enough, just kill her." Ji Yu couldn't bear to look at Mu Ning, then his gaze fell on Ling Fei Yong with a look of disgust in his cold eyes. He waved his hand to the people behind him, "Leave none." As his former betrothed, Mu Ning came to this competition space and actually hooked up with another man. This made Ji Yu feel very unhappy, as if he had been given a green hat to wear. Ling Fei Yong was still gentle and elegant, but had some regret in his eyes. Was he going to die here in the end? Mu Yi and Shi Feng both revealed signs of hopelessness. They simply weren't a match for their opponents. It seemed that this time, they were going to fall in this competition space. The white knuckles of Yi Qinghan's hand that was holding the long sword revealed that he was not at all at peace. He was the strongest in their group. If he wanted to abandon them and escape, he could still do it, but he wasn't able to do such a thing. Was he going to die? A beautiful, elegant, purple-clothed figure suddenly appeared in his mind. Was she well right now? Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Although Yi Qinghan felt the shadow of death gradually looming over, but he didn't want to give up. Don't give up. Even if we die, we have to pull a few people down for us to lie on. His voice wasn't loud but carried with it a firm determination. Even if he fell here today, he would definitely make Ji Yu and the others pay a heavy price. Mu Ning pressed her lips together tightly and she couldn't hide the apologetic look in her eyes. She knew that with Mu Tong and Ji Ye's temperament, they would definitely never let Ling Fei Yang and the others go. It was she who harmed them all. After hearing the order, the people behind Ji Yu took a step and swung their swords to kill the severely injured people. But who knew that a playful woman's voice sounded in the woods? "It sure is the first time I've seen such a shameless woman in this world, not only hooking up with her elder sister's betrothed to become an adulterous couple, but they even have the nerve to say that others are unclean. It truly makes me laugh aloud." Ji Yu and the others didn't notice anyone else in the forest before at all, and when they heard this voice, they all looked in that direction. All they saw was an alluring woman in a light purple dress, with a hint of ridicule on her face, jumping down from a big tree and walking over in a leisurely manner as if walking in a courtyard. "It's you, bitch." Mu Tong couldn't resist but curse Lu Mu Yen when she saw that it was her. Lu Mu Yen glanced at her, "Not as much of a bitch as you. Miss, this is our private matter, please don't get involved and leave quickly." Yi Qinghan still had a cold expression on his face while restraining his excitement. But his clenched fists betrayed his nervousness at this time. When Ling Fei Yang and the others saw Lu Mu Yen appear, they couldn't help but sigh with relief, but then their hearts began to hover again. No one called out her name, and they pretended not to know her when they saw her. Ji Yu and the others came from a superpower kingdom and were very powerful. Lu Mu Yen wasn't their opponent at all. They couldn't drag her into the water with them. Lu Mu Yen smiled and walked to Yi Qinghan's side, looking at him with slight mischievousness, saying, "Qinghan, why, don't you know me anymore after not seeing me for a few months? I'm going to be hurt." After she finished speaking, she looked at him as if she was so aggrieved she wanted to cry. Yi Qinghan's heart softened, and he sighed helplessly, "In such a situation, why do you need to get involved? You are all important people to me, so of course I won't sit idly by." Lu Mu Yen smiled indifferently, "Besides, I just don't think they're pleasing to the eyes." Hearing her say that they were all important people, Yi Qinghan's long and narrow eyes rippled, his heart soft and warm. This was the woman he had deeply fallen in love with with steadfast loyalty. "Oh, I was wondering who came out to fight the injustice, so it turned out to be you, wanton woman." Mu Tong spoke with ridicule when she saw the interaction between Lu Mu Yen and Yi Qing Han, hating inwardly, "What? Luo Li dumped you, and now you've come to snatch men from my elder sister? Mu Tong, you're slandering." Mu Ning's eyes were filled with killing intent. Yi Qing Han didn't explain. He had nothing to do with Mu Ning to begin with. It would only be more chaotic if he said more. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, "Only a wanton woman would see everyone else as such. A woman like you who seduced your brother-in-law to bed should have been caged in a pig cage long ago, yet you still have face to display your love with that adulterer, as if you fear others won't know how many disgusting things a cheating couple like you have done behind the scenes." She had already heard Luo Li talk about Mu Tong, the second daughter of the main bloodline. Her mother was the Mu patriarch's little concubine that became the official wife, and also his so-called true love. After Mu Tun came of age, she schemed and snatched her elder sister's betrothed and even slandered her elder sister's reputation. It seemed that the white-clothed woman beside Ling Fei Yang was Mu Tong's elder sister, Mu Ning. This woman was solitary and cold, without much scheming. No wonder she could be schemed by the mother and daughter pair. "Lu Mu Yen, are you going to meddle in our affairs today?" Ji Yu stared at Lu Mu Yen coldly with a very ugly expression. Having the past between he and Mu Tong revealed by Lu Mu Yen just like that, it not only made him look bad, but the killing intent could no longer be stopped either. Chapter 235. The killing intent of each person. Yes, undisguised killing intent was revealed. "Are you going to meddle in our affairs today?" "How can this be our affairs?" Lu Mu Yen folded her arms, her voice cold. "My friends and my elder cousin brothers were severely injured by you, so this debt must be settled clearly. There is a path to heaven that you don't take. Instead you want to break into hell that has no path. One. Ji's eyes revealed ruthlessness. "Today will be your death day." Lu Mu Yen chuckled, the sharpness in her eyes flashing. "I'll see how you can turn today into my death day." The killing intent on her body was not concealed the slightest. Ji Yu and his party had possessed killing intent towards her for a long time, and they were going to kill Yi Qing Han and Ling Fei Yang just now too. They already stepped on her baseline. "Arrogant." Ji Yu sneered, and two dark golden scimitars appeared in his hands. "Mu Yen, he already has the strength to fight a sword sovereign." Yi Qing Han stepped forward to block Lu Mu Yen. "Let me." Lu Mu Yan's heart warmed. She took out a few bottles of healing medicine from her interspatial ring and tossed it to the people behind, then tugged Yi Qing Han's sleeve and said softly, "Qing Han, believe me." Luo Li and Xin felt extremely sour when they saw Lu Mu Yen showing a warm expression to the handsome, black-clothed man. Who was that man to Lu Mu Yen? He didn't quite look like her lover. Yi Qing Han's heart trembled, pursed his thin lips and took a step back. "Mu Yen, be careful." This sentence fully demonstrated his trust. A woman like Lu Mu Yen would feel disdain at hiding behind a man. What she wanted was to stand side by side. Lu Mu Yen stuffed a bottle of medicine for internal injury into his hand. "You take a rest first." "All right." Yi Qing Han took the porcelain bottle that still had Lu Mu Yan's body temperature, held it tightly and stepped aside, watching the others vigilantly after taking a pill. Ji Yu narrowed his eyes dangerously. This woman would surely become a serious problem in the future. "You kill her." Mu Tong looked at Lu Mu Yen sinisterly. Ever since she fought against Lu Mu Yen that day, she knew that she wasn't her opponent. Only Ji Yu could kill her. "You all go and kill the others first to avoid future troubles." Ji Yu coldly swept his gaze over Yi Qing Han and the others. While he was fighting Lu Mu Yen, he didn't want to let these people go, and wanted to catch everything in one net. Mu Tong nodded, a happy smile appearing on her pretty face. She looked at Mu Ning meaningfully and said, "Elder sister, don't blame younger sister for being cruel. Who told you to be so unpleasant to look at? It's already at our tolerance limit for my mother and I to have let you live until now. There is the first elder in the Mu clan to protect you, but now let younger sister send you off." Because Mu Ning's mother occupied the position of the official wife, and once had a powerful maternal clan, her mother had to endure being a concubine, and she also had to remain as a concubine's daughter for more than a decade. But the heavens had eyes, and Mu Ning's maternal grandfather's clan offended a powerful force and was exterminated, giving her mother the opportunity to remove that woman who was occupying that position. Although she had become the daughter of the official wife, but Mu Ning had the most powerful first elder of the Mu clan protecting her. That's why she and her mother hadn't been able to find a chance to act. Now that she had such an opportunity, how could she let go of it? The jealousy and hatred in her heart had long made her want to tear Mu Ning into thousands of pieces. Cough, cough. Mu Ning coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. Her eyes revealed a deep feeling of remorse. She wasn't afraid of death but regretted that she couldn't avenge her mother. Ling Fei Yang felt her emotions and held her hand, his warm voice soothing. Don't be afraid. We won't die. Mu Ning's cold eyes rarely fluctuated slightly. Sorry, it's all because of me to have caused you trouble. No worries. Ling Fei Yang's handsome and unparalleled face had a smile, and his calmness gave Mu Ning a peace of mind. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, Pei. You're all going to die and you're still acting romantic and confiding in each other, shameless. Mu Tong hated Mu Ning not only for her identity, but also because of Mu Ning's face that was known as the #1 beauty of the empire. Seeing so many men be enamored with Mu Ning, she couldn't help but feel envious. Lu Mu Yen found that Ling Fei Yang's attitude towards Mu Ning was rather different. Could it be that this was the woman her elder cousin brother truly liked? She didn't dislike Mu Ning. Since she was the woman that elder cousin brother liked, then she was naturally the object of her protection. Right now, she was going to fight against Ji Yu, but Yi Qing Han and the others had been severely injured, so they definitely wouldn't be the 6 advanced phase Sword Monarch's opponents. If you've watched enough drama, then come out and help. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow at the woods not far away. If Helian Lai and Si Nen wanted to befriend her, then they should at least show some sincerity. Si Nen walked out gaudily with his gold foil folding fan. I was just about to come out to help you when you called me. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. This gaudy man sure was thick-skinned. Helian Lai still looked like an uninhibited romantic, looking as if I was also here to help. Luo Li walked quickly towards Lu Mu Yan's side and looked at Ji Yu unhappily. Ji Yu, you're too conceited. Humph. Don't think that I won't dare touch you just because you're from the Luo clan. Ji Yu hated Luo Li extremely. He temporarily yielded before because of Luo Yi and the Luo clan, but it made Luo Li even more arrogant. His face was grim, and a black pellet fell in his hand. He squeezed it gently, and the black pellet turned into a very light black smoke, disappearing into the air. Lu Mu Yen habitually observed her opponent's every move, so she naturally didn't miss Ji Ye's movements. A ridicule rose on her lips, wanting to ask for reinforcements? That kind of black pellet was used as a secret code. Once crushed, it couldn't be stopped, but Lu Mu Yen wasn't afraid of Ji Ye's helpers either. Ji Yu, now, it's your fault for doing all this. Why fuss with a woman? A man should be open-minded. No wonder that although you're the crown prince, but you've been severely suppressed by fourth prince. Your bearing is indeed much inferior to Ji Xian's. Si Nen pretended to sigh, specifically attacking the other party's sore spot. Ji Ye's face was even more grim. What he hated most were those who compared him with Ji Xian. Si Nen was truly too hateful. Luo Yi didn't walk over, but just leaned against a tree and looked over. If one watched closely, one could see that his clean, dark eyes actually had no focus. With the strength of the several people, he no longer needed to intervene. Si Nen, are you really going to help that woman from a small kingdom? Ji Yu asked with furrowed brows. Si Nan's androgynous handsome face wore a charming smile. The little beauty has spoken, so how can I bear to refuse? You know that I show the most pity and tender care for Jade. Damned shameless bastard. Luo Li rolled his eyes at Si Nen, really wanting to punch that frivolous face. The corner of Lu Mu Yan's lips twitched. Even fights between women don't dawdle as much as you two. It's all Ji Yu who led us to talk. A narrow-minded man talks the most. Si Nan decisively pulled Jiyu out to take the blame. The anger in Ji's chest was burning. He said so many words mainly to delay time and wait for the other 3 allied kingdoms to come to help, but who knew that it would be accidentally messed up by Lu Mu Yen? Stop being so talkative, you guys will be responsible for killing that woman who's unpleasant to look at and the others. Lu Mu Yen pointed in Mu Tong's direction, then her eyes were filled with a strong fighting intent. Let me experience a little of Ji's combat power that's comparable to a sword sovereign. In her previous battle with the mountain-moving beast, she mainly used the opponent's weakness and found a shortcut, so it wasn't difficult to win that battle. Although Jiyu was at peak phase sword monarch cultivation base, but he had the qualifications to fight against a sword sovereign, so she definitely wanted to experience it somewhat, so as to also find her own shortcomings and inadequacies. Only by fighting against people whose cultivation base was stronger than her could she make progress. This was the principle she had always followed. Basically, I gave you a chance, but you're not taking it. Chapter 236. Sudden change. Lu Mu Yan's fighting spirit was high, but Jiyu felt bitter in his heart. He didn't expect that killing a mere Lu Mu Yen and a group of people from a small kingdom would lead to a joint confrontation between Si Nan, Luo Li, and Helian Lai. Si Nan, have you really thought it through in going against our empire? Si Nan closed his folding fan, and his handsome facial features were gorgeous. I will naturally cooperate with the Bowtie's request. It was just killing an elite team. He didn't care, even if the opponent was also from a superpower kingdom. Si Nan's androgynous face was exceedingly handsome, and he usually met people with a poisonous mouth and a slovenly attitude, but his temperament was actually capricious, and he didn't avoid killing. Shameless bastard, stop wasting time talking to him. Luo Li glared at Si Nan, then waved his long sword and greeted Mu Tong. Si Nan coughed dryly, then said to Helian Lai, "I'll take 4, you two. Why share, just gang fight?" Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at Si Nan. They've got so many people bullying my elder cousin brother, can't you gang fight them? The corners of Si Nan's eyes twitched. Lu Mu Yan's belly was also filled with bad water one. But he liked it. What tray you still standing there for? Gang fight. He turned his head and huffed at the rest of his elite team. To deal with GS lackeys, it was indeed wasting big talent on a petty job if he stepped forward. Helian Lai looked at Lu Mu Yen in amusement, then instructed the rest of his team, "You all go up too." The people in Luo Li's team were also eager to move. They had long been displeased with Jiyu and his team. "Go!" Luo Li's voice sounded leisurely. No longer fighting alone, the few people were soon surrounded by several groups of people, and various sword lights of different colors flashed continuously as the surrounding trees fell one after another. "Luo Li, you really dare to try to kill me?" Mu Tong covered her chest with a look of horror, blood stained all over her body. Luo Li sneered, "Do you, an ugly woman, think you're a celestial or something? This young master will kill if I want to. Even if others are afraid of the Mu clan, but am not." With a ruthless look in Mu Tong's eyes, she mobilized her elemental energy and began to cast a secret skill. Mu Ning looked at the secret skill she was using with a chill in her eyes. This was originally a method that the Mu clan only passed on to the main sons and main daughters, but that good father of hers had never mentioned it to her. Who knew that he already passed it on to Mu Tong? The desolation in her heart had long been replaced by disappointment time and again, and now she had no other feelings other than hatred. Mu Tong used the secret skill, but Luo Li wasn't a vegetarian too either. The two quickly battled together. Lu Mu Yen stood in the sky with her golden long sword beneath her feet, formed a few Taoist seals with her hands, then with a wave of her palm, a lifelike fire dragon created from elemental energy loomed over Ji's head. Jiyu snorted coldly, and the dark golden scimitars in both hands were tossed out together. Two powerful light shadows slashed towards the fire dragon in the air. The fire dragon roared, and its 4 sharp claws met the 2 light shadows. The space shook a few times, then after the fire dragon met the light shadows, it lit up with a dazzling and brilliant light. After the forces canceled each other out, the light shadows were shattered by the giant claws of the fire dragon and disappeared into the light. The fire dragon also gradually grew transparent due to the force. You sure have a lot of unconventional means. Jiyu looked at Lu Mu Yen with an ugly expression. He had used 9/10 of his power just now, yet who knew that it was scattered by the fire dragon condensed by Lu Mu Yen? Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow. Then I'll let you see this young Miss Sword skills. With a thought, the golden longsword beneath her feet instantly turned into 10 flying swords, all of which rose into the sky. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, quick. With a light shout, the 10 small swords swirled and flew downwards, enclosing Jiyu in a circle. Sword array. Ji's expression changed, and cautiously held the scimitars while channeling elemental energy into them. Arcs formed by metal elemental energy sword auras erupted from the scimitar with an imposing manner. Take this. At this time, even Jiyu had to admit that Lu Mu Yan's array attainments were indeed powerful. Not only could she use fire elemental energy to create a besieging array, but now she even brought in a sword array within her sword intent. This woman must be rid of. There were more than 100 golden arcs, and they each carried an aura of pressure from a peak phase sword monarch. As soon as they exploded outwards, they wanted to destroy the flying swords that besieged him. Lu Mu Yan's lips curled up. Rise? The 10 golden flying swords instantly spun around, and hurricanes whirled from the sword array, swallowing the 100 arcs within it. Clang clang. Sounds, like war on a battlefield, resounded. Many sword aura arcs were destroyed by the hurricane, while a small portion overflowed and attacked the flying swords violently. The 10 flying swords retreated a distance of 100 meters away under the influence of the sword aura arcs, but their own sword light didn't dim at all as it continued to rotate, and a hurricane formed again. Ji's eyes revealed ruthlessness, and the scimitars in his hands flew out, suddenly landing above Lu Mu Yan's head, growing larger, with a killing aura. Cut! He poured the elemental energy of his entire body into the scimitars and said viciously. The scimitars instantly shone brightly and made a few humming sounds. Its power at this moment had already exceeded the strength of a sword monarch. A portion of Lu Mu Yan's spiritual energy was suppressed by the mighty energy. This was precisely caused by the gap in cultivation base. But there was no fear in her eyes. Instead she smiled and said, "Excellent." She pinched a few seals with her hands, then the 10 flying swords seemed to have come to their senses and also let out some hums. The hurricane that was formed suddenly intensified, annihilating the remaining sword aura arcs. The flying swords didn't remain, and like rows of fish playing in water, they flew with liveliness above Lu Mu Yan's head, instantly merging into a giant golden sword. Under the function of the sword array, countless sword aura light shadows flickered around the giant sword. Although the pressure it exuded was inferior to the enlarged scimitars, but its momentum wasn't weak at all. Ji's Saint Tool was made of high-grade metal attribute materials and if brought out, could be coveted by many, but Lu Mu Yan's natal magic tool was not only made from several rare metal attribute materials obtained from the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, but she also added the earth-rank spiritual item, the heavenly frost golden crystal. Therefore, even if her cultivation base and pressure was inferior to Ji's scimitars, but her sword was superior to his scimitars by numerous folds, which perfectly made up for her shortcomings. Jiyu was a favored child of heaven to begin with, so his visions naturally weren't short-sighted. Seeing that Lu Mu Yan's flying swords could actually achieve unity of heart and mind with her, and most importantly, was that it was even able to compete with his saint tool he was proud of, this golden longsword definitely was extraordinary. A touch of greed flashed across his eyes, but a voice suddenly sounded in his mind and his eyes revealed surprise. The suddenly enlarged scimitars slashed down heavily, while the golden giant sword humming happily, as if excited by seeing some delicious food. Lu Mu Yan's expression revealed slight strangeness. The natal magic tool that was connected to her mind actually passed on to her a desire to devour the dark golden scimitars. Did she raise this to give birth to a tool spirit so fast? But that wasn't quite right either. The purple-gold spirit flame within her dantian leapt around, with the humming of the giant sword, as if it had been stimulated with excitement, wanting to leap out. This kind of sudden change even caught her off guard. Lu Mu Yen hurriedly mobilized the green fog in her dantian to suppress and conceal it. Then her mind became clear and she had a guess in her heart. One, to have a belly filled with bad water means that she's filled with wicked ideas. Two, being a vegetarian means being weak in this case, so it's saying here that Luo Li wasn't weak either. Chapter 237. Talisman Master GS suddenly enlarged scimitars slashed down heavily after he channeled elemental energy into it, attempting to slice apart the golden giant sword above Lu Mu Yan's head, and, while it was at it, also take her head. Seeing the scimitars slashing down with boundless power, as if it could defeat Lu Mu Yen as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, Luo Li and the others all stared at Lu Mu Yan's figure with nervousness, for fear that something would happen to her. But right now, even if any one of them wanted to intervene, it would be too late. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were like chilling stars. She narrowed her eyes dangerously. This Jiu actually wanted to behead her. It made an unprecedented killing intent rise within her. Break! She no longer suppressed the purple-gold spirit flame in her body and allowed it to dance in her dantian. A sliver of a natal fire origin overflowed from her meridians and merged with the spiritual energy, channeling it into her natal magic tool. The golden giant sword that guarded above her head hummed cheerfully under the support of the purple-gold spirit flame, and turned into a soft sword, wrapping around the huge scimitars that had swung down. Clang! There was only a slight noise when the two touched. Just when everyone thought that Lu Mu Yen might be hurt by the sword aura of the scimitars, they saw her golden giant sword softly wrap around the scimitars, preventing it from moving half a step, and they all showed a frightened expression. Just what sort of saint tool did Lu Mu Yen own? It could even change shape freely? Ji's eyes revealed a bit of horror. He found that the connection between himself and the scimitar saint tools was actually slowly weakening, and the power of the scimitar saint tools were also fading. Just what was happening? Lu Mu Yen looked at the extremely soft and flexible soft sword in surprise and couldn't resist holding her forehead. Was this still a sword? Why was it so much like a rope? Because the natal magic tool was connected to her mind, so she could deeply feel its excitement and hunger at this time. Those dark golden scimitars were precisely the food it wanted to forcibly obtain. With the help of that wisp of purple-gold spirit flame, the heat of the golden sword continued to rise, gradually blending with the scimitars. What? How could this be? My saint tool. The connection between the scimitars and Jiu had completely cut off, and his mouth was wide open, while his expression was filled with incredulity. Lu Mu Yen blinked. The heavenly frost golden essence used to refine her natal magic tool was a divine rank spiritual item born alongside the purple gold spirit flame to begin with. The two of them were subdued and refined by her, so although she was very surprised that the golden sword could now borrow the power of the purple gold spirit flame to devour other weapons of the same attribute, but it was understandable. There was a smile in her eyes. Who knew that Ji's scimitars had accidentally activated the devouring talent of her natal magic tool? In the future, the natal magic tool could not only be cultivated and upgraded in her body, but it could also be upgraded by devouring high-level magic tools of the same attribute. She had only heard of such a magic tool in the immortal cultivation world, but she had never seen it before. This time, it actually happened to her own natal magic tool, which made her unable to resist rejoicing. Ji's expression was ugly, and the voice in his mind grew stronger and stronger. His gaze swept over the people on Lu Mu Yan's side with some fear, and his eyes revealed a firm and vicious look. Today, even if he won Lu Mu Yen by using all his trump cards, but there were still Luo Yi, Si Nan, and the others. It was simply impossible for him to truly kill her. He looked at the scimitars that he had lost connection with grimly, then resolutely took out a talisman from his interspatial ring. He channeled elemental energy into it, his heart in pain at using this, and with a tight squeeze, his figure suddenly blurred and quickly disappeared in this forest. His aura no longer existed within thousands of li. It's the wind-riding talisman. Nen said with furrowed brows. Lu Mu Yen knew that there were actually 3 types of smiths on this continent. One was simply a pure smith, one was a leather armor master, and the final one was a talisman master one. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, smiths mainly refined attack and defense type magic tools, and usually needed spars for refining to refine them. Leader armor masters were different as they mainly used demonic beast skin and bone as the main materials for refining and were mostly refined into leather armor worn on the body for defense. Meanwhile, a talisman master mainly refined talismans, sealing some spells or arrays into the talisman which could be used for battle and could also assist in cultivating and saving one's life. Among the 3 professions, the pure smith was the most popular, followed by talisman master, then finally leather armor master. Of course, if there was a sword master with excelling talent, then they could also learn all 3. What's the wind riding talisman? Used to escape? Lu Mu Yen looked at Nen and asked. As an almighty of the immortal cultivation world, she could refine talismans, but the talisman masters on this continent were super rare professions like spiritual wine masters. Yanzhou Kingdom had no talisman masters at all, and there were very few related records, so she wasn't very clear about the details of talisman masters. Seeing Ji Yu take out the wind-riding talisman just now, she felt a familiar aura. It shouldn't be too different from the talismans she knew of. Nen pierced the enemy's heart directly with his golden foil folding fan, then the fan returned to his hand without a drop of blood. The wind-riding talisman can be regarded as a middle-grade talisman. It can improve the sword master's speed by 10 to 30 times. Ji Yu used it to escape. Lu Mu Yen lowered her head and pondered. It could increase the user's speed by 10 to 30 times. It seemed to be even more powerful than the divine movement talisman of the spiritual world. It seemed that not everything on this continent was inferior to the immortal cultivation world. There were still many things she needed to learn and understand. Don't worry, Ji Ye's younger brother, Ji Xian, would rather him die and won't help him. What's more, we've killed all his men now, so he won't be able to achieve anything in the future. Seeing her lower her head in thought, Nen guessed that she was afraid that after Ji Yu ran away, he would become a serious concern in the future, so he spoke out to reassure her. Lu Mu Yen raised her head and chuckled. I'm just thinking about the wind-riding talisman. No one can say for certain whether Ji Yu can achieve anything or not in the future. It's useless to think too much now that the person's run away. Ji Yu was ruthless and decisive in doing things. This time, by letting him escape, it had indeed left future trouble. But Lu Mu Yen didn't think too much about it. When the boat reached the bridge, it would naturally pass underneath without much trouble too. She just thought that the next time she met Ji Yu, she must not let him run away. The wind-riding talisman is rarely found in the outside world. Ji Ye's maternal clan has a guest grade 3 talisman master, so that talisman must have been given to him by his maternal grandfather. Nen paused, then said, the requirements for becoming a talisman master are very harsh. Only a smith that had comprehended the fire element, metal element and earth element can refine them, so talismans are a very rare thing. Then isn't a talisman master very popular and makes a lot of money? Lu Mu Yan's eyes were filled with bright light. The corner of Nen's lips twitched. A mysterious and unfathomable talisman master seemed to have just become a tool for making money coming from Lu Mu Yan's mouth. If there were pedantic and inflexible people here that stubbornly stuck to outworn rules and ideas, they would definitely curse her for being a disgrace to the cultured. Actually, these special occupations aren't something one can become just by having talent. Although many people compete for the things that they refine and they practically have no shortage of money, but the initial investment cost is also huge. Without some capital for consumption to advance in grade, one could only waste their talent. Nen said a little more indirectly. Lu Mu Yen nodded. It was indeed far too difficult to advance in grade without a strong family background or without their own fortuitous opportunities. For example, a talisman master, just the blood essence of various demonic beasts and various beast skins as main materials in the early stages already cost a lot of money. Her eyes shone brightly. After she went to a sect, she could study the talisman skills of this continent a bit. Although she wasn't very interested in smithing, but because talismans were related to arrays, so she was rather thorough in her research of talismans. Wondish. Time to go back and correct each time I used the word talisman into something different. Maybe into rune. I think all along, the author has been using the word rune. Oh, the difficulties of grasping the nuances in another language when they use practically the exact same characters. Anyways, the talismans mentioned here are those rectangular pieces of paper that you might have seen before with unique characters and symbols drawn on them. Apologies if you do see some discrepancies for a while, since I might not get to correcting some terminology from previous chapters for a bit. Two things will work itself out eventually. Luoli, you can't kill me. If you kill me, our Mu clan will never let you go. At this time, Mu Tong was in a complete sorry state. Her clothes were completely stained with blood, and her hair had become loose and messy. Seeing Jiyu abandon her, she felt a chill in her heart and looked at Luo Li in horror. TSK, our Luo clan will be afraid of your Mu clan? Luo Li pursed his lips in disdain. Seeing Jiyu escape, the group of elites, aside from Mu Tong, were all dead from being ganged up on. He turned to look at Lu Mu Yen and aside, how should we handle her? Lu Mu Yen glanced at Mu Tong casually. She didn't want to dirty her own hands, but inadvertently saw the killing intent in Mu Ning's eyes. She walked over and said with a smile on her face, "I'll give her to you to deal with." Mu Ning didn't expect Lu Mu Yen to say such a thing to her and asked in surprise, "Why?" "Because you might be my future elder cousin sister-in-law." Lu Mu Yen blinked with a straightforward, mischievous smile. A red glow instantly surfaced on Mu Ning's cold and pale face, and she secretly glanced at the handsome man with an elegant, refined smile in her peripheral vision. Her heart beat faster. She and Ling Fei Yang knew each other when they were very young, and he had rescued her when she was 9 years old and accompanied her through the most difficult days. The two had feelings for each other, but unfortunately, both had a betrothed, so they could only curb their feelings for each other and thought that they would never meet again. Now that her betrothed was snatched by Mu Tong and they annulled the engagement, and Ling Fei Yang's engagement was also annulled even after rescuing that woman named Xueling due to being bound by the engagement, almost ruining his entire life. Then when they met again, she didn't expect that she still had the same beating heart for him as before, so she didn't resist getting together with Ling Fei Yang. It was just that she had always been worried that she wasn't worthy of him now, so after suddenly hearing his younger cousin sister say that, she didn't know what to do. Ling Fei Yang had always known that this younger cousin sister of his was perceptive, but he didn't expect that she could even see the feelings between he and Mu Ning. He gently clasped Mu Ning's hand to reassure her, "She framed you everywhere, and her mother also killed your mother. It is most suitable for you to deal with her." After he finished speaking, he cast a grateful look at Lu Mu Yen. This younger cousin sister's actions were more and more heartwarming. "Thank you." When Mu Ning raised her eyes, her face had recovered to its usual coldness, but her expression when looking at Lu Mu Yen was a little softer. Lu Mu Yen knew that her personality was cold and should be related to the methods she cultivated, so she smiled and said, "You're welcome." Mu Ning nodded and walked towards Mu Tong. "Elder sister, do you really want to kill your own younger sister? If father knew your thoughts, he would be very disappointed." Mu Tong was relieved when she saw Lu Mu Yen handing over her life and death to Mu Ning. With a thought, a tinge of pain rose on her face. A mournful look flashed in Mu Ning's eyes, but her emotions calmed when she closed her eyes, then opened them. "So what if he knew? He's not worthy of being my father at all." After the death of her mother, she always thought that her father didn't know the truth, didn't know the evil deeds of Mu Tong's mother and Mu Tong, and tried hard to obtain his approval. But after many assassinations and disappointments, she gradually discovered that he didn't like her at all. On the first day of coming to the competition space, she inadvertently learnt that her mother's death was his connivance, and the final trace of family affection was completely wiped away. From then on, she knew that she would no longer have relatives, only enemies. "Elder sister, we're blood-related sisters, you can't kill." Mu Tong's pupils shrank and looked down at the long sword that passed through her chest in disbelief. This bitch actually really wanted to kill her. The words she wanted to say were only half said. Mu Ning's eyes were cold. I won't let the tiger return to the mountain again. After speaking, she didn't give Mu Tong a chance to speak again. She hated this younger sister no less than she did her. She forcefully pulled out the long sword that penetrated her heart, took out a silk cloth and wiped the blood on it, then tossed the silk handkerchief away. Mu Tong's body gradually fell weakly, her eyes bulging, as if she had never truly known this elder sister who had been bullied so badly by her. But, unfortunately for her, it was all too late. Lu Mu Yen expressed appreciation for Mu Ning's decisiveness. If someone like Mu Tong wasn't killed, then it would definitely be troublesome in the future. Yeno, Mu Bai. Ling Fei Yang was very happy to see his younger cousins in the competition space. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, elder cousin brother. How are you all trapped here? Lu Mu Yen asked with a smile. Ling Fei Yang sighed and said, we were snatched of our demonic beasts when we were hunting in a remote mountain a few days ago by these people. There was a little conflict at the time but didn't involve life or death. Today, we happened to be hunting a Tier 6 demonic beast and met them. When Mu Tong saw Mu Ning with us, killing intent rose in her. Mu Ning's expression was also apologetic with lingering fears. If Ling Fei Yang's younger cousin sister didn't arrive, then she would have harmed them all. She was grateful to Lu Mu Yen from the bottom of her heart and remembered this kindness in her heart. Lu Mu Yen didn't know that Mu Ning would bring a huge fortuitous opportunity in the future because of today's actions. At this time, she only felt that it was very pleasing to look at this elder cousin sister-in-law. Mu Yen, it looks like we owe you another personal favor. Yi Qing Han's internal injury had healed a lot after taking Lu Mu Yan's pills, and he walked to her side, looking at her with soft eyes. Lu Mu Yen chuckled lightly. Must Qing Han and I seem as if we're outsiders? Yi Qing Han was her first sincere friend on this different world and occupied an important position in her heart. They would be best friends forever. Of course I won't treat you like an outsider. Yi Qing Han's face was filled with smiles and ripples rose in his heart. Luo Li and Si Nen glanced at each other, and they both understood each other's thoughts. This man named Yi Qing Han seemed to hold a lot of weight in Lu Mu Yan's heart, but it was also precisely because of this, they both disliked him. Mu Yen, let's find a place to rest. Night is arriving soon. Luo Li stepped forward to block Yi Qing Han's sight and his handsome face was filled with a sunny smile. Yi Qing Han furrowed his brows slightly. He found that this young man with a full head of red hair and a handsome and flamboyant appearance had a sense of hostility towards him. Lu Mu Yen nodded and said to Yi Qing Han and the others, Qing Han, elder cousin brother, let's all travel together. Sure. The two answered in unison. They had been inquiring about news of Lu Mu Yen recently to begin with, so now that they had finally met, they naturally wanted to compete together and take care of each other. Luo Li's face seemed to darken, but in front of Lu Mu Yen he wouldn't show any hostility towards Yi Qing Han at all. He gave Si Nen a look as if saying, shameless bastard, you go deal with them. Si Nen rolled his eyes at him. This kid could also be wicked and order people around now. As if he would be a fool to target that handsome man and anger Lu Mu Yen. If you dare, go do it yourself. He tossed Luo Li a provocative look to convey what he wanted to express. Then he leaned in front of Lu Mu Yen and said with a smile, I know a cave down there. Let's go there to rest and wait to depart in the evening. Mu Yi and Shifeng's injuries also recovered a lot. Together, they and Ling Fei Yang lifted their comatose companions who were lying on the ground and walked down the mountain with Lu Mu Yen. Shameless bastard, how about we join forces to get that unsightly man away? Luo Li telepathically said. Si Nen was also very bitter about Lu Mu Yan's intimate attitude towards Yi Qing Han. That woman had never given him any good looks. All right, let's work together. They just wanted to chase Yi Qing Han away and didn't want to hurt him, otherwise Lu Mu Yen would definitely skin them. Yi Qing Han's deep eyes narrowed slightly. These two men were love rivals. Random note. Welp, Ming Xiao Ah, Umwise collecting way too many men now. Also hurry up and be in an open relationship already, sob. Chapter 239. Using his body to nourish poison, the group came to the cave that Sinan spoke of, and the environment was indeed quiet. Lu Mu Yen walked over to the two people who were still in a coma and took their pulses. Then she pierced them with a few golden needles, and only then did the pained expressions on the two gradually ease, and their complexions became rosy. Lu Mu Yen, you know how to heal people too? Luo Li looked at Lu Mu Yen in surprise. He had only heard that she could refine pills, but he had never seen it before. Now that he saw her being able to use a few needles to restore the spirit of the two sluggish sword masters, he couldn't resist having a thought. Lu Mu Yen took back the golden needles. Yeah. Then can you cure eye diseases? Luo Li asked impatiently. There was always a voice in his heart that told him to believe Lu Mu Yen. Hearing Luo Li's words, Luo Yes' body froze. Only Lu Mu Yen noticed this movement. It depends on what kind of eye disease it is. The one you're asking about isn't easy to cure. Lu Mu Yen replied without concealing after pondering for a bit. Luo Li's eyes revealed shock. You know what I'm asking about? Luo Yes' relaxed body froze again. Could it be that Lu Mu Yen discovered his secret? He suffers from an acquired eye disease due to a skill. It can be cured, but now isn't the time. Lu Mu Yen was always observing Luo Yes' blindness. Although she didn't take his pulse, but she already knew the answer inwardly. Luo Li grabbed Lu Mu Yen's arm and asked nervously, "Why isn't it time?" Because to treat this kind of eye disease, you need to concoct a type of eye drop for treatment, and I don't have the spiritual herbs to concoct it. Lu Mu Yen shrugged. What kind of spiritual herbs do you need? Luo Li asked, pressing his lips together. Lu Mu Yen raised her eyes and looked at Luo Yi. She found that his emotions weren't as calm as he appeared. She thought for a while, then said, "I'll give you a list later." Sure. Luo Li seemed to be relieved, then asked cautiously, "How did you know? Do you believe me if I say I'm a divine doctor?" Lu Mu Yen chuckled and raised an eyebrow. Seeing her smile like a flower, Luo Li's heart thumped. Believe. Although Lu Mu Yen was a cunning and black-bellied woman, but she wouldn't joke around with such serious things. It seemed that she indeed saw through eldest brother's illness herself. He couldn't resist looking forward to it inwardly. If Lu Mu Yen really was a divine doctor, then did that mean eldest brother's blindness could be cured? What sign language are you using, who has an eye disease? Sinan had never seen Luo Li lose his composure like this, and after hearing these two talk, he was mostly confused, so he leaned over to ask. Luo Li pushed him away in disgust. Shameless bastard, what does it matter to you? However, he also stopped discussing with Lu Mu Yen. Since she knew about elder brother's situation, then he would ask her when there was no one else. Tisk, I'm just asking, forget it. He rolled his eyes at Luo Li, then walked to Lu Mu Yan's side and sat down. He looked at her with his androgynous face and asked with a smile, "Little beauty, since you're a divine doctor, how about taking a look at me?" Lu Mu Yen looked at him without understanding, then smiled lightly and reached out to check his pulse. Originally, she was just checking casually, but then her face grew more solemn. How is it? Sinan actually knew about his own situation, but he didn't really expect Lu Mu Yen to know. Lu Mu Yen retrieved her hand and wiped it with a handkerchief, causing Sinan's lips to twitch. He took a bath every day, all right. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, congratulations to you for having a body filled with blood that's invulnerable to hundreds of poisons. Lu Mu Yen said congratulations on the surface, but her voice didn't really sound congratulatory. Sinan's eyes widened. You can even figure this out? Shameless bastard, Lu Mu Yen already said she was a divine doctor. Luo Li believed every word that Lu Mu Yen said from the bottom of his heart. I didn't expect the little beauty to really be a divine doctor. Sinan laughed dryly and asked, "Can my blood cure poisons?" "It depends on what kind of poison." Lu Mu Yen replied. "What if it's the water illusion nether dream?" Sinan's eyes revealed a hint of caution, then asked after a while. The expression on Lu Mu Yan's face changed. In order to cure the water illusion nether dream, you raised yourself into a poisonous person? Can it really cure it? Nan's expression was a little grave and excited. It's hard to say. Lu Mu Yen paused, then continued. It depends on how many years the person has been poisoned, as well as their physique. If the poison time is too long, the poisonous blood in your body might be a little uncertain. 10 years. Nan's eyes flashed with pain. After Lu Mu Yen interacted with Nan these days, this was the first time that she found that this man with a poisonous tongue and a frivolous personality could show this kind of emotion. If the body was originally a strong man, then 10 years should be fine, but if it were a woman who was poisoned 10 years ago, then even if your blood is completely mature after a period of time, it will still be difficult to cure. At least it will be life-threatening. Lu Mu Yen just felt that the person Nan was talking about should be a woman who was very important to him, so she didn't conceal it. Nan clenched his hands tightly, and the blue veins on the back of his hands popped. Then is there a way to reduce the danger? The specific situation can't be told until I see the patient. Lu Mu Yen said with a serious expression. Those that are poisoned with the water illusion nether dream usually fall into a deep sleep. If they're poisoned for more than 10 years, then the vitality in their body will also be lost in the 10 years. Using the poisonous blood in you that has become perfected can cure it, but it could also infect them with other poisons. Hearing Lu Mu Yan's sincere words, the last doubt in Nan's heart also dissipated, as if grabbing onto a life-saving straw. If you see the patient, can you cure it? If they haven't died, then I have 9/10 of certainty to cure it. Lu Mu Yen still had this confidence. Nan's eyes lit up, scorching. How about you go to Rian Kingdom after the competition? As long as you can save her, no matter what conditions you want, I will promise it all. Can I ask who she is to you? Lu Mu Yen just thought that Nan should have been a cold and distant person, but seeing that he was even willing to use his body to nourish poison to cure another, she couldn't help but be slightly moved. She's my Imperial concubine mother. Nan's voice was a little hoarse and he lacked his usual slovenly and frivolous attitude. Lu Mu Yen was startled. Seeing that Nan's expressions and emotions didn't seem to be fake, it was as if she had a newfound understanding of him, and she was impressed. This man's slovenly attitude was probably also just a cover to conceal his true nature. Alright, if you're still alive after the competition, I'll go with you. Lu Mu Yen nodded. Although Rian Kingdom was in the northern region, but it wasn't too far from Yanzhou Kingdom. Nan was a member of the Imperial family. If she helped him, she may get involved in a lot of trouble, but helping him was definitely also beneficial to the Lu clan. And the rarest thing to come by was the pure and innocent heart of a newborn one. No matter how capricious Nan was, but using his own body to nourish poison, disregarding his life just to cure his mother, this filial piety deserved her respect. Although she, Lu Mu Yen, wasn't some good person, but back in the mortal world when she learnt medical skills from the divine doctor, she also learnt the benevolence of doctors. Nan raised an eyebrow. What do you mean by as long as I'm still alive, you'll accompany me? Was this woman cursing him to death? Shouldn't the person who should be most worried about whether they could live or die be herself? An idiom meaning that Nan has a sincere heart with wholehearted devotion, like newborn babies who have not yet been tainted. Something like that. Chapter 240, Preliminary Round Countdown. What do you mean by as long as I'm still alive, you'll accompany me? Lu Mu Yen glanced at Nan. It literally means what it means. Cough cough. Nan coughed dryly, then winked. Am I that weak? Who knows? Lu Mu Yen said lightly. Nan looked up at the sky speechlessly. He was obviously very strong, all right? He just didn't show it. If he battled with Luo Yi, it wouldn't be certain who'd win or lose. Qing Han, you all quickly recover. We're going to kill beasts in beast tides to earn points tonight. Lu Mu Yen took out another bottle of elemental recovery pills and tossed it to him. All right. Yi Qing Han took the pills, then distributed the pills in the porcelain bottle to the others calmly. A strong aroma filled the air. Mu Yen, you can already refine grade 3 pills? About right. Lu Mu Yen leaned against the wall lazily. Your talent really is heaven-defying. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He was thrown farther and farther away from her. Lu Mu Yen turned her head and smiled. There are many grade 3 alchemists, it's nothing strange. Her goal wasn't just a grade 3 alchemist. Her goal was to become a grade 10 alchemist that was at the peak of this world. The others had varying expressions when they heard the conversation between the two. They couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. There were indeed more grade 3 alchemists than other high-grade alchemists, but no one had heard of a grade 3 alchemist who was less than 18 years old. Her indifferent tone truly made people speechless. Si Nan and Helian Lai were the most shocked. This elemental recovery pill was refined by Lu Mu Yen herself? Didn't she tell Elder Shao that her master refined it? So it seemed she had lied. Lu Mu Yen, you refined the elemental recovery pills yourself? Luo Li couldn't resist asking. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow and smiled. Take a guess? She felt that a grade 3 alchemist really wasn't something to show off about. This little cat was probably about to explode again. Luo Li glared at her. Boring. Then he turned his head away. Ha! Lu Mu Yen felt very pleased when she saw that he indeed exploded. Luo Li's face was a little hot. This woman really was hateful, but why did he like her more and more? Yi Qinghan saw Lu Mu Yan's face blossom with a beautiful smile, and his deep eyes darkened. Si Nan glared at Luo Li. He said he was shameless, but Luo Li was also a shameless person. When night fell, a crescent moon hung in the sky, bright and clear. Lu Mu Yen sat on a big rock outside the cave, and the moonlight poured down, making her entire person appear lonely and ethereal. Luo Yi jumped onto the boulder and sat beside her with a handsome figure. Are you here to ask about your eye disease? Lu Mu Yen turned her head and met Luo Yi's clean and bright eyes. She sighed inwardly that it truly would be a waste to keep these beautiful eyes blind. There was a faint smile on Luo Yi's lips, and under the bright and clear moonlight, he looked even more handsome. His voice that was as clear as spring water poured out slowly. When did you find out? The first time we met. Lu Mu Yen replied. Luo Yi was a little taken aback. Your medical skills are indeed brilliant. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, I haven't even checked your pulse for you yet, so how do you know that I'm skilled in medicine? Lu Mu Yan's tone carried with it a slight tease. I indeed became blind due to my cultivation method. Countless physicians and alchemists have come to treat it, but no one has noticed that I have an eye disease. Luo Yi's voice was gentle and serene, with a stirring charm. Can I take your pulse? Lu Mu Yen asked. Luo Yi raised a hand and placed it in front of Lu Mu Yen. Do as you please. Lu Mu Yen chuckled, then reached out to touch that pair of slender and fair wrists. After a while, she said, Did you receive an external inheritance one? Luo Yi was taken aback and asked in surprise, How did you know? There's a vague energy in your sea of consciousness inside you, but I found that it didn't belong to you. I feel that if it's not the mental energy of an external powerhouse, then it's a mass of soul energy that's about to dissipate. Lu Mu Yen explained. Luo Yi pondered for a bit, then said slowly, I accidentally broke into a tomb when I was 10 years old. By chance, I inherited a divine word skill method, then a soul forcibly entered into my sea of consciousness. Due to the fact that I was still young at the time and my cultivation base wasn't high, I could only barely resist him seizing control of my body. That soul was a sword sovereign powerhouse before his death. He has always wanted to devour my soul and control my body, but unfortunately I possess a special constitution of the Luo clan, so not only did he fail, but his soul energy has been absorbed by me a lot over the years. Then I started cultivating the divine word skill, but my eyes gradually seemed to be covered with a layer of fog, and finally, I became completely blind. Luo Yi sighed. After I refined his soul energy, it was only by using his memory that I knew this was the disadvantage of cultivating the divine word skill. Divine word skill? Is that what you call the ability to calculate and predict? There was no divine word skill in the immortal cultivation world. However, people who comprehended the Great Path could predict the future, so she was just saying her guesses. Luo Yi nodded. But because of the blindness caused by the inherited method, I've rarely cultivated it since. Therefore, his divine word skills prediction method only remained at initial phase. Those who had already seen the light hated such boundless darkness. So that's how it is. Lu Mu Yen muttered to herself. Can you really cure my blindness? Luo Yi didn't know why, but there was just a feeling in his heart that Lu Mu Yen could really restore light for him. I said I can, so naturally I can. But to cure your blindness, I still need to find several kinds of spiritual herbs and spiritual items to concoct a kind of eye-washing and eye-brightening drops. Lu Mu Yen knew that although Luo Yi could use his mental energy to perceive everything in the outside world and live like a normal person, but he yearned to see this colorful world again. This is the list of spiritual herbs that I need to refine it. If you know them, then it'll help you refine it. Then she handed over a prepared jade slip. Before refining the eye drops, you must completely refine that soul in your sea of consciousness. Luo Li took the jade slip and didn't immediately probe into it with his mental energy. Much gratitude. Regardless of whether she could really cure his blindness or not, he would still thank Lu Mu Yen. Lu Mu Yen smiled, stood up and patted the dust off her dress. Let's go, it's almost time. All right. The figure of the two talking on the boulder was seen by Yi Qing Han, who walked out of the cave. His eyes were as deep as the sea, but he didn't walk up to interrupt. Night was a time when demonic beasts frequently roamed about. Under the guidance of Mo Yen, Lu Mu Yen led Luo Li and the several other groups to besiege 3 waves of medium-sized beast tides. In pursuit of speed, when meeting the 2 Tier 7 demonic beasts, Lu Mu Yen didn't intervene, and they were both resolved by Luo Yi and Si Nan. After a few more days of night hunting, Lu Mu Yan's score lived up to expectations and she advanced to the Nineth place, shocking numerous elite teams from large kingdoms. Yi Qing Han and the others' points were also soaring vigorously, and all 5 of their team members rushed into the top 100 of the standings. When there was precisely only 10 days left of the preliminary round, a soft bell sounded in all the refuge cities, as if it had come from the distant horizon. The preliminary round countdown had finally arrived. This inheritance is more to do with inheriting power, not something physical like money, etc. Chapter 241 came with evil intent. When the distant and gentle bell rang, Lu Mu Yen was drinking wine and chatting with the other people in the courtyard of an inn in a city. The preliminary round countdown has begun. Luo Li's eyes were filled with excitement. Lu Mu Yen shook the white jade wineglass in her hand and the red liquid inside was crystal clear. From today onwards, the targets we need to guard against have increased to the elite teams of other kingdoms too. Shouldn't you say that we can finally snatch their jade tablets? Si Nan's fair, handsome face flushed red after drinking, making him look even more gorgeous. Lu Mu Yen couldn't resist sighing that Si Nan was truly quite attractive just by looking at his appearance. Helian Lai drank the spiritual wine in his cup. We should have kept Mu Tong and the others and kill them now, so that we can get a few more purple jade tablets. Before the countdown bell of the competition space rang, the identity jade tablets of all dead sword masters would shatter and dissipate, so the jade tablets of Mu Tong and the others disappeared a few days ago already. You're the typical giving advice in hindsight. Si Nan glanced at him. When are we going to the central city? Yi Qing Han asked, looking up at Lu Mu Yen. Lu Mu Yen leaned on her chin with one hand, and she shook the wine glass with the other. Well, rush over tonight and go directly to the central city tomorrow. At this time, this team of 5 groups revealed a faint trend of being led by Lu Mu Yen, and basically no one objected to her decision. Si Nan, I heard that you've always been well informed? Lu Mu Yen asked lazily. Seeing her half-squinted eyes, lazily leaning her body on the stone table with an indescribable demeanor, Si Nan's eyes rolled in thought, then smiled frivolously. Little beauty really understands me. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. I'll leave it to you to inquire about the purple, orange and cyan jade tablets. If you see whichever teams are ruthless and cruel, well, attack those teams. The second round of the competition was mainly to snatch identity jade tablets. They needed 10 purple jade tablets, 30 orange jade tablets, 50 cyan jade tablets, and at least 100 jade tablets of other colors in order to continue to advance. During the preliminary round countdown, the competition for jade tablets was allowed, so there definitely would be a lot of gang fights everywhere during these 10 days. No problem, leave that to me. Sinan tossed a charming look at Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen shuddered, filled with goosebumps, and said coldly, frivolous. Sinan choked. Lu Muyen really wasn't a normal woman. If in the past he had shown such a devilishly charming smile to the talented female sword masters of those distinguished clans in the Imperial capital, it would definitely cause a group of women to go crazy. But it was precisely because of her uniqueness that he was interested in her, wasn't it? Luo Li and Helian Lai couldn't resist casting a contemptuous look at Sinan. Serves you right. Yi Qinghan's beautiful thin lips rose in a slight arc. Lu Muyen didn't like men like Sinan. When it got dark, Lu Muyen and their party left the inn and rushed towards the central city. As soon as they left the city, more than a dozen elite teams immediately followed them. Lu Muyen and the others turned a blind eye. These days, they've been followed by elite teams from other kingdoms each time they went out to hunt at night, and the number of teams only continued to increase. After learning that Lu Muyen could use arrays to deal with medium-sized beast tides, many people had the same thought. Plus the fact that as long as they paid 2/3 of the demonic beasts' crystal cores they killed, they could kill demonic beasts in the fire array to earn points, so everyone followed them unanimously. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks. Lu Muyen didn't object either. Her own demonic beasts were very picky, and now only 8 Tier 6 demonic beasts' crystal cores, even more prodigal than her. So it seemed like she would always lack crystal cores. Besides, if her team continued to eat alone, it would inevitably lead to joint counterattacks by numerous elite teams from large kingdoms. If they left some soup for them to drink, then, putting aside alliances, at least they wouldn't join the army to go against them. Tonight was a little different from the past, however. Sword masters from different teams were on guard against each other, fearing that someone would suddenly jump out and contend for jade tablets. Fortunately, Lu Muyen had given them a heads up in advance. Anyone who wanted to hunt with them at night to earn points must abide by the rules, and they were not allowed to kill each other, which put an end to the little ideas of many people. That night, under the guidance of Mo Yen, they wiped out 5 waves of beast tides again, and arrived at the central city at dawn the next day. The central city was grandeur and majestic, and one could feel a solemn and ancient atmosphere from even a distance. The city could accommodate at least 10,000 people, and the streets were bustling. There were a few more inns in the central city than in other refuge cities. They still went into the largest one where there were courtyards reserved for the superpower elite teams. No matter where, there would always be special treatment, and only the strong could become the party that enjoyed it. Lu Muyen, are we still going out to hunt tonight? Luo Li asked Lu Muyen right before they were about to return to their rooms. The others also turned their attention to her to see what she decided. We won't go tonight. Let's properly restore our combat power and go group battling tomorrow. Lu Muyen left that sentence and entered her room. The others looked at each other. Was there really going to be a group battle tomorrow? How exciting, no? The 5 teams, having interacted with Lu Muyen for a long time, had all been infected by her temperament, and they all had a tendency to enjoy the thrill, so they were very enthusiastic about the competition of jade tablets that would soon arrive. Did you feel the resentful gaze that was hiding across the street from us? After entering the room, Mo Yen jumped from Lu Muyen's shoulders onto the bed and stretched lazily. Lu Muyen looked at the originally prudent and noble Missouri Yan's casual and lazy demeanor right now, and couldn't resist smiling. How could I not have felt such a deep resentment? Why don't we snatch their jade tablets tomorrow? Mo Yen found a soft position and laid there as he suggested. Lu Muyen looked at him without a good attitude. That'll be too easy on her. I told her I'll let her experience the taste of rising to the clouds then falling down. Before they checked into the inn just now, there was an obscure, malicious look cast onto them from an alley with killing intent. Even if Lu Muyen's mental energy hadn't recovered yet, but she didn't even need to look to know it was Schwellinger. Before, she humiliated Schwellinger and didn't kill her, not because she didn't dare to do it or couldn't do it, but it was purely to destroy her both physically and mentally in the future. Otherwise it would be too boring to toy her to death so easily. Mo Yen raised his head and there was brilliance flowing in his star-like eyes. Whoever offended this woman, whoever would be unlucky. Bing Ji trembled at the smile on Lu Muyan's lips. As long as owners smiled like that, then someone would definitely be out of luck. The human-eating blood thorn vine king shrunk his main branch, secretly thankful that he had abandoned the dark and turned to the light early at the time, otherwise who knows how he would have been cleaned up by little owner. Only Meow Meow kept rubbing against Lu Muyan's wrist intimately, indicating that everything owner did was right. Lu Muyan naturally noticed the gazes of the several spirit pets. She let out a laugh and shook her head, but she was very happy inwardly. That night, they didn't act, and Lu Muyan called everyone out of the city early the next morning. Everyone was basically satisfied with their own points rankings. It was fine as long as they could keep their good ranking. The more important thing at present was to compete for jade tablets. When they walked to a remote mountain in the distance to prepare to hunt and earn points while looking for sword masters from other kingdoms to snatch some jade tablets, they were suddenly blocked by a large group of allied people who appeared. These people basically had 4 words written on their faces, came with evil intent. Suddenly, silhouettes emerged from all directions in the mountains endlessly, and there were nearly 100 people in total. Lu Muyan swept the cultivation bases of the people who had come. Most of them were in middle phase Sword Monarch stage, while the leaders were at peak phase Sword Monarch stage, and one of them was an old acquaintance, Jiyu. Jiyu, a disowned dog like you sure made a huge commotion this time. What are you trying to do this time? Sinan opened his folding fan gaudily with a smile and took a step forward, casually scanning the group of leaders. Jiyu disliked Sinan the most, a vicious tongue and cruel heart that specifically attacked other people's sore spots. Sinan, if you don't want to cause trouble, then take your people and leave first. Jiyu was still very afraid of this gaudy man. He found out that Sinan usually didn't like to bother with other people's business, so he wanted to kick these people away first. Then he would deal with Sinan after getting rid of Lu Muyan and the others. Sinan naturally knew Ji's intentions. Not to mention that he was very interested in Lu Muyan right now. Even if he wasn't interested just based on the fact that she could cure the poison, he wouldn't ignore this. Jiyu, are you blind? Seeing Ji's expression darken, Sinan felt very pleased. Obviously it's you who brought people to seek trouble from us, but you want to make a false countercharge? Jiyu knew that Sinan's tongue was poisonous and powerful. He didn't argue with him, and instead said to Lu Muyan's group with a grim look, "Hand over your jade tablets, otherwise there will only be a dead end." The several people beside him looked at Lu Muyan with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Another important reason for coming to snatch the jade tablets this time was because they also wanted to snatch the treasures this woman owned. They heard that she had a lot of grade 3 pills, and that Golden Saint tool was especially rumored to be exceptionally miraculous, not only able to divide into numerous flying swords and become a sword array, but it could even devour other magic tools. Although they weren't completely convinced, but they couldn't stop the greed and desire in their hearts. If that saint tool really was so miraculous, it would be a waste for Lu Muyan, a sword master from a small kingdom, to own it. Jiyu, your head must have been caught between a door. Luo Li folded his arms with a bit of contempt in his eyes. Although you have more than twice as many of us, but do you think that these rabble can make us surrender our identity jade tablets? Ji's eyes revealed some killing intent. This Luo Li was too annoying. Since you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit one, then don't blame us if you die. Since he dared to incite the other teams of large and medium-sized kingdoms to intercept and kill Luo Li and the others, then he naturally came prepared. Lu Muyan furrowed her brows when she saw Jiyu and the other leaders looking as if they were bound to win. These people must have made some preparations. As she thought, the leaders like Jiyu suddenly took a few steps back and an array banner appeared in the hands of a black-clothed woman with a veil beside him. Sacrifice. The woman's voice was hoarse and dull, sounding as if she had already passed her twilight years. The array banner in her hand then turned into a black arc and flew into the sky. The black banner gradually unfolded, and a sinister wind came from within it. Then she stamped a few Taoist seals onto the long, black, narrow array banner. Instantly, the long, narrow array banner flashed with black light, and a sinister wind surrounded the entire forest together with mournful, shrill weeping. The smell of blood began to spread in all directions, and layers of scarlet mist also burst from within the array banner, mixed with the bloody scent, causing many people to turn pale. "What sort of iniquitous skill is this?" Helian Lai asked with caution. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed a bit of solemnity. "The place we stand on has already been arranged with an array by them." "What array?" "That array banner looks so evil." Sinan took a step back, feeling that the sinister aura and bloody scent from that array banner was too strong, making him feel uncomfortable. Not only did he feel this way, everyone present except GS people felt a sense of disgust, and the irritability in their hearts was drawn out a little bit. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks, Puchi. Puchi. There was an inexplicable sound that kept resounding. Suddenly, one by one, gray-white bones emerged from underground, revealing their bodies little by little, then eventually turned into skeletons, jadedly walking towards Lu Muyan and the others with a sinister aura. "It's really a bone array," Lu Muyan said coldly. "Bone array? Do you know this array?" Helian Lai felt that the aura of the corpse skeletons that were constantly emerging from the ground weren't weak at all. Bone array, also known as the Fire Devil array, is a kind of evil, sinister and vicious array among the array skills. Lu Muyan paused, then continued. The array master who arranged the array must first throw most of the people into a medicinal liquid to soak, then heat the liquid, boil them alive, then attach souls with a sinister aura and resentment onto the bones of the deceased, finally collecting it into an array banner to form an array, using corpse aura to raise it. The souls of those who were killed, and the resentful souls the array master collected would then turn into nourishment for the array banner. When the bone array activates, then the raised bones would emerge to form an attack source for the array. Those who know Buddhist methods, recite the scriptures that help release souls from suffering. The rest, protect the spiritual platform too in your sea of consciousness. The bloody fog in the array has the effect of creating illusions. After Lu Muyan finished speaking, she turned to Ling Fei Yang and said, "Elder cousin brother, do you know the scriptures for dispelling dark beings?" "Yes." Ling Fei Yang nodded. "Younger cousin sister, don't worry, it'll help protect everyone's spiritual platform. Sinan, Helian Lai, Luo Li, Luo Yi, the four of you go to the four directions of Jin, Qin, Zhen, Dui 3 to guard. Don't allow a single skeleton in here." Lu Muyan turned her head again and said to the others, "You all close up your spiritual sense and mental energy and divide into 4 groups to help kill the skeletons. Remember to cut off their legs and feet." She didn't expect Jiyu to invite someone with such high attainments in arrays to arrange a devil array, but luckily the other party's cultivation base was only at initial phase Sword Monarch, and the array banner had yet to be upgraded, otherwise it would be troublesome to break the array today. She stretched out her hands and kept changing her hand gestures. One after another, jade-colored runes leapt out of her palm to form a rune belt that wound around her. "Lu Muyan, what are you doing?" Luo Li pressed his lips together and asked, revealing worry in his eyes. This kind of array gave them a very strange feeling, and it was probably not easy to deal with. Lu Muyan patted his shoulder and said with a light smile, "It'll break the array, don't worry, little wild cat." Luo Li nodded and didn't care about her calling him little wild cat. In fact, he liked this nickname deep down. You have to be careful. Seeing her confidence and brilliance, Luo Li lowered his head and smiled. Then he turned and walked towards the Gen position, wielding his sword, and began to kill the skeletons that kept emerging. Ling Fei Yang sat cross-legged, removed the string of beads that Lu Muyan gifted from his wrist and kept turning it as paragraphs of complicated and obscure scriptures came out of his mouth. Circles of extremely pale golden light spread from his body, and the bloody red mist retreated as if it had encountered its nemesis. The mournful weeping in the forest grew louder and louder, forming a depressing and eerie atmosphere. Even the elders of the 6 major sects sitting in the central castle had serious expressions on their faces. One meaning to choose to take the harder route instead of the easy route, basically, can be said in this situation as a means of threat, or, for example, said to someone that was beaten up after choosing the harder route. Like, I gave you a chance, but you chose this route instead. Too okay. My last explanation said this spiritual platform might literally be a platform blocking one's cultivation base from advancing. But clearly, that isn't it. And I just did a little more research into what was and found that it's just another dated term for the words soul, spirit, etc. So, yeah, I'll correct my explanation in a previous chapter. Eventually XD, forgive me as it's my first time translating anything to such an extent, so I might be unfamiliar with certain terms. XD. 3. They are 4 different locations of the 8 trigrams, each representing something different. You can search up 8 trigrams and see an easy visual representation. Decided to start putting pictures, so it's down below. XD, but I have seen variations of the 8 trigrams aka Bagua, and this is the one I found that was easiest to understand for people. Usually it's black and white though. I don't know how accurate the meanings behind it are though. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.